This is the NBC Television Network.
You are looking at Wrigley Field in Chicago, and most of you will be watching the Western leading Giants go up against the Cubs. The Giants are on fire. They've won 6 of their last 7. The Cubs only 3.5 behind the leaders of the NL East, the Montreal Expos. And this afternoon, the Expos face the slumping Cincinnati Reds here at the Big O in Montreal. Some of you will be looking in at the Expos and the Reds. That is our lineup for baseball's Game of the Week. And we welcome you. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, and coming up on the pregame, I'll be talking with San Francisco Giants hitting star Will the Thrill Clark. On top of the news, though, within the hour, the Yankees and the Padres completed a 3-player deal. The Yankees, with 4 straight losses and in desperate need of pitching help, acquired 31-year-old Walt Terrell in exchange for third baseman Mike Pagliarulo and minor league pitcher Don Schultze. Terrell with a record of 5-13, ERA 4.01. Pagliarulo, a major disappointment the past 2 years, hitting only .197 this season. So trader Jack McKeon and Sid Thrift doing some business. To the scoreboard, 1 game underway at Fenway in Boston. They're in the third. White Sox and the Red Sox are tied at 1. In games of note last night, it was Carlton Fisk who has hit very well against his former team, connecting for his 330th career home run. And this, the difference, is the White Sox behind Melito Perez blanked the Red Sox 1-0. White Sox have actually won 7 in a row. In Seattle, Fred McGriff took over the American League home run lead by hitting 2, including this, his first career grand slam. 25 home runs for McGriff. Toronto beat Seattle 8-1. The Angels with a dramatic win on this. Wally Joyner 2-run home run in the 9th. California rallied to beat Detroit 8-7. The Angels remain in a virtual tie for first with the A's, while in Oakland, red-hot Ricky Henderson with an RBI single, bottom of the 9th, to lead the A's over the Orioles 3-2. The Orioles still 7 in front. In the Royals' 6-1 win over Cleveland, an attempted intentional walk to Bo Jackson, but Bo, reaching out for the pitch, lifted this fly ball to right field. In Houston last night, Mike Scott, in his first game back from a hamstring injury, became the major's first 15-game winner. Scott of the Astros defeating the Phillies 4-2. Ron Darling of the Mets received a scare when Darling was hit, fortunately in the helmet, by Marty Clary of Atlanta. Aside from dizziness, Ron was all right and went on to beat the Braves 6-4, helped by this Darryl Strawberry 2-run home run, 22nd of the season. Strawberry has caught fire, as have the Mets, who have won 4 in a row. Getting away from baseball for just a moment, the big story, the aftermath to last night's Mike Tyson 93-second first-round knockout of Carl the Truth Williams, with referee Randy Newman stopping the fight, some thought prematurely. Newman said Williams didn't answer him when he asked, "Are you all right?" The Truth disagreed with that early stoppage.
The politics basically was to get me out of there any way he can. If you hurt Carl, go after him. If you get him down. I mean, it was just one big scandal.
I had really 2 seconds to make a judgment. I said to him, "How do you feel?" The first response was closed eyes and no answer. With the next second closing, I said, "How do you feel?" I was not so interested in what he said, but how he said it. He said nothing, and this time the stare was totally blank.
Although some boxing purists may feel that referee Randy Newman was too quick on the trigger, he may, in fact, have saved Williams' life. The truth is that Williams' vulnerable chin would have served as target practice for Tyson had the fight continued. And now the build-up begins for a Tyson-Evander Holyfield championship bout. I don't know about you, but first, I'd like to see some more classic matchups, like Tyson going up against Jose Ribalta, or Tyson against Buster Douglas. Boxing fans across the country will elbow their way in for those confrontations. When we come back, we'll hear from the man they call the Natural, Will Clark of the San Francisco Giants.
Will Clark steps up. Dangerous line drive. Way back, going. It is gone. And the Giants win it 3-1.
NBC Sports presents Major League Baseball, an inside look. Brought to you by the Bic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave. And by Thompson's Water Seal Exterior Stain. Beauty that lasts at last.
At Bic, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now Bic presents our solution, introducing the new Bic Metal Shaver. The patented Bic Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new Bic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. This is the year of the eclipse. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi. Try not to stare.
I stained this last year, and it's fading already. Why?
You didn't use Water Seal Stain, the only stain with Thompson's Water Seal. It seals water out and protects against fading. So the next time you stain won't be for a long time. Thompson's Water Seal Stain.
Hey, when it comes to protecting your investment, isn't it worth paying for the real thing? Only Armor All works like Armor All.
San Francisco Giants first baseman Will Clark has established himself as one of baseball's best all-around hitters. With a batting average of .330, he's among the leaders in the National League, and he also has outstanding power. 14 home runs, 71 RBIs. He had a 35 home run season in 1987. He won the RBI title last year, and now combining with the home run exploits of Kevin Mitchell, the Giants have the most dangerous 1-2 punch in the game. And Will Clark has joined us from Chicago, where later on his Giants will go up against the Cubs. Will, the impact created by you and Kevin Mitchell was certainly illustrated yesterday in the 4-3 win over the Cubs. Third inning, runner on third, Don Zimmer, the Cub manager, decides to walk you to face Mitchell, and then Mitchell came through with an RBI hit, leading to a 4-run inning. What has Kevin Mitchell's success meant to you?
Well, what Kevin's done for not only myself but the whole ball club is he's picked us up continuously throughout the season. In the clutch situations, Kevin has come through, and he's come through over and over. And for the ball club, he's given us an added lift. And, you know, you really can't express in words what he's meant to us, because when he goes out on the field, he just it breathes new life in the offense.
Will, does it bother you that Mitchell has received so much attention? I know you were quoted as saying in an early June edition of the Sporting News, "I'm not in this game for ego satisfaction, so I haven't minded the lack of attention. I don't need anyone to tell me I'm good." Why has there been a lack of attention?
Well, because Kevin's having a great year, and he deserves it. You know, if there is a lack of attention, I don't want it to, I guess you say, be on myself. I want to give it throughout the team, because, first of all, Brett Butler, Robbie Thompson, Jose Uribe, people like that haven't received enough attention about the great job that they've done this year. All the attention has been on Kevin and myself. So, you know, Kevin deserves it, first of all. I've had my share in the past, and now I'm trying to pass it on to people like Brett Butler and Robbie Thompson, who definitely don't get enough.
Although, Will, the fans certainly responded. You were the top vote getter in the All-Star balloting among the National League players. You have that graceful, beautiful swing, which led to the nickname The Natural. And baseball people have compared your style to that of Ted Williams. Have you seen film of Williams?
It's sort of a coincidence you said that, because I have seen films of Ted Williams. And when I was in high school, you know, I guess you'd say growing as a ball player, I worked with a hitter, a guy by the name of Barry Butera, who was a student of Ted Williams when he was in the Red Sox organization. So I guess you want to say I got Ted Williams' theories sort of secondhand, and that's sort of how the swing evolved.
Now, at one point, you had what could be labeled as a hot dog image. In fact, it may still be there. And I know you were trying to correct it somewhat. For example, I know you were upset when a broadcaster for one of the teams said that you had nicknamed yourself the Thrill, when in fact it was a teammate, Bob Brenly, who gave you that moniker. But does Will Clark have hot dog tendencies?
Well, what Will Clark is Will Clark's a very intense ball player when he's on the field. He's very concentrated on what he's doing. And I don't think it's hot dog at all. Matter of fact, I think it's very aggressive. Now, if people tend to believe that it's hot dog, if they tend to say that it's cocky or arrogant, well, that's their own opinion, but that's what makes Will Clark go. Will Clark is a very intense individual when he's on the field. He's very aggressive, and he has a lot of confidence in what he's doing. And like I said, Marv, that's what makes me tick, so I'm not going to change too much.
Well, if someone were to call you at home and you're not there, what is the message on your answering machine? Would you share that with us?
Marv, this has gotten all blown out of proportion here. But my answer machine changes from week to week, but in 1987, Vita Blue gave me a tape from B.B. King saying the Thrill is gone. Yeah. And I put it on my answer machine. I had it on there for about a week or so, I guess. And, you know, it got a lot of attention. It's gotten a lot of attention since, but that answer machine hasn't come on since 1987.
Will, thank you very much for coming on with us.
Marv, my pleasure. Have a good day.
All right, Will the Thrill Clark, a two-time All-American at Mississippi State and now a two-time National League All-Star, one of the game's best. We'll be back in a moment, actually only slightly faster than a Mike Tyson, Carl the Truth Williams title fight.
The fighter that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police, makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
They said this concrete would last for years. Now it has expensive water damage. Why?
Even concrete needs the protection of Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Sunday, it's the one night everyone wants to remember, but this is a night no one's going to forget.
We're going to the prom.
It's a summer night comedy adventure with the stars from The Cosby Show, Cheers, The Hogan Family, Growing Pains, Newhart, and Who's the Boss?
I can't believe this is happening.
The laughs go into high gear when everyone hits the floor and a dance still on Sunday.
Well, back in my native Canada, we have some terrific baseball teams, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Montreal Expos, and they do very well. Every year they come this close. They just never quite win the big one. Canadian fans want to know, how come we can't do it? And I just tell them, you got to face it. Their Cubans are better than our Cubans.
Alan going for the ethnic humor route. But the way the Montreal Expos have been going this season, he may be forced to revise his thoughts. Looking back at this past week in baseball, it was a week that featured the power-hitting exploits of Joe Carter of the Cleveland Indians. Wednesday night, Carter slammed 3 home runs against Minnesota, the 4th 3-home-run game of his career, equaling Lou Gehrig's American League record. Here is number 3 to make it 5 over 2 games. That's a Cleveland club record, and 19 for the season for Joe Carter. The best defensive play of the week, Kirby Puckett of the Twins pulling off thievery, stealing a home run. In contrast, Philadelphia Phillies rookie third baseman Charlie Hayes committed 4 errors in 1 game. That is number 1. Here's the second, again, a bad throw. And number 3 for Hayes. Hayes made it 4, 1 shy of the Major League record for third baseman set back in 1906. A game to forget for Charlie Hayes and the Phils, who chalked up 6 errors in all. And a rugged stretch for California Angels manager Doug Rader, who was ejected from 3 straight games. Rader felt the Angels were on the short end of several calls. Major trade this week between the Dodgers and Reds. Cal Daniels from Cincinnati to L.A. along with infielder Lenny Harris for pitcher Tim Leary and shortstop Mariano Duncan. Leary comes off a 17-win season for the Dodgers. For 42-year-old Cincinnati relief pitcher Kent Tekulve, the end of a career. He retired Monday. Jacoby with 1,050 relief appearances, a major league record. And the most bizarre play of the week, Met catcher Phil Lombardi attempting to throw out the runner at second, nearly hit pitcher Bob Ojeda, who had to cut it off, but did get a chuckle out of it. And that wraps it for this edition of the baseball pregame show. Most of you will see the leaders of the West. The Giants go up against the Cubs. Vin Scully, Tom Seaver at the microphone. Some of you will see the Reds, who have been struggling, face the first place Montreal Expos with Bob Costas and Tony Kubek. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back during the course of the day with updates. I'm Marv Albert in New York. Now, let's go to the ballpark.
And the Emmy for Outstanding Sports Personality, Bob Costas.
An American has won in Paris.
Oh, and a big right hand puts Banks down. The impossible has happened.
Costas, Enberg, Albert, Scully, just part of the award-winning NBC sports team.
BF Goodrich TA tires perform like great athletic shoes. Grab. Dig. Because BF Goodrich TA tires are low and wide. BF Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes or your car.
This year, 90 million people complained about the weather. 10 million complained about waiting in line. 60 million complained about their bosses. But according to J.D. Power's latest survey of new car owners, there were fewer complaints about the Nissan Maxima than any other car, which makes the Nissan Maxima the most trouble-free car sold in America, and leaves Maxima owners free to complain about more important things.
Be a 12 lifesaver. For information, call 253-1500.
They're as different as country and city, black and white, left and right. He's Will Clark from New Orleans, Louisiana, who loves to hunt and fish and hit home runs. And he's Kevin Mitchell from the mean streets of San Diego. There have been great home run tandems in the past. Mantle and Maris, Mays and McCovey, Aaron and Matthews. And in 1989, it's Mitchell and Clark as the San Francisco Giants arrive in Chicago in first place to play the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
The National Broadcasting Company, now in its 7th decade of bringing you baseball's memories. Baseball's milestones. Baseball's magical moments. And baseball's miracles. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week.
A gray, humid, overcast day at Wrigley Field as the Giants come to the Windy City. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully along with Tom Seaver. Welcome to Wrigley Field. The Giants and the Cubs reading for the 11th time of the year. The Giants have won 6 out of 10. They lead the Western Division by 4 over Houston, while the Cubs are 3.5 games behind the division-leading Montreal Expos. In Chicago, a feeling of optimism somewhat. They have a healthy Jerome Walton, a healthy Dwight Smith, and Andre Dawson will not go on the disabled list, although he is troubled by sore knees. As for the Giants, they're breezing, leading Houston by 4. When you talk about the Giants, you hear Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell, or you hear Kevin Mitchell and Will Clark. Is there more to San Francisco than those two? Well, Tom put that question to the manager, Roger Craig.
Thank you, Vinny. Roger, you've won 6 out of 7 ball games, 4 of them without Kevin Mitchell. This is more than a one-man team.
Well, you know, Tom, yourself, if you've been in a lot of championship ball clubs, and we've got a long ways to go, but to win, you've got to have help from everybody. And I've got a lot of guys that are contributing. I'm platooning 3 guys that are hitting after Kevin, and they're all doing extremely well. Guys coming off the bench, and Will Clark's having a fabulous year. If we didn't have Kevin, everybody would be talking about Will Clark. But, you know, you've got to have a good, strong bench. You've got to have a good bullpen, and everybody on our ball club, and especially the bullpen, has done an outstanding job.
Your pitching has been shuffled around and back and forth. One of the things I think has been overlooked on this ball club this year is your defense.
You know, with Uribe and Thompson and Butler up the middle, I don't think there's a fine defense in the middle. And they, to me, form the best double play combination in our league. They make routine ground balls, double plays. That base hits, they turn into double plays. And they're the ones, that's the reason we're in first place.
One of the things that I read, Will Clark said that the biggest difference between last year and this year, this ball club, it's attitude.
We have a great attitude. The guys, you know, as you're on yourself, when you got a ball club, and when they believe they can win, and they play every club in the league, and they know that they're just as good or better, then you got something going.
All right, good luck today, Roger.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, Vinny, the manager of the Giants, Roger Craig.
So there is indeed a lot more to the San Francisco Giants besides Clark and Mitchell. There's pitching, there's speed, and there is great defense. We'll have the starting lineups and a lot more all coming up right after this.
The Game of the Week is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light.
Buzzard's Gulch was drier than the red-hot desert ground. Old hombre named Mackenzie came riding into town. His saddlebags were loaded with the best fruit ever found. And he ambled up to the bar and bought the house around.
To beat the desert heat, Spuds moseys on up to Bud Light. He knows everything else is just a light.
Much obliged for the Bud Light, cowboy.
Go, Spuds, go.
We switched from Ford to Chevy.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
We have to have equipment that will hold up to the job, and the Chevy doesn't. We're generally pulling something, and generally it's pretty heavy. We use them hard, and they stand up to it. And we do it all day long, and we don't worry about it. Now, that's what we have to have in a truck out here to get the job done.
That's the day's Chevy truck.
Some guys look at this, they see just another brake job. Just another brake job? Not to the guy who drives this car. Not to me either.
Mr. Goodrich knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Get up and go before she sings.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Wrigley Field, Chicago, and we do what everyone does here. When you come, check the flags, and the flags are blowing from right to left. Here are the Giants who have already checked the flags, and it'll be Brett Butler in center field, Robbie Thompson at second base, and Will Clark at first. Kevin Mitchell in the cleanup spot, followed by Ernest Riles at third. Candy Maldonado in right field. Terry Kennedy behind the plate. Jose Uribe at shortstop. Atlee Hammaker on the mound. And trying to stop that lineup is right-hander Scott Sanderson. Sanderson 8-6, 1-0 against the Giants this year, 7-7 lifetime, coming off back surgery, and he has had a struggle, and understandably so. In his last 5 starts, he's had 2 no decisions, 2 wins, and a loss. That's the indicator, so if you're a right-hand hitter, that's the very first thing. It looks like Christmas morning to you as you see that wind angling from the right field corner to left.
Here's a defense for the Chicago Cubs today. Lloyd McClendon in left field, Jerome Walton in center, Andre Dawson on tender knees in right field, Vance Law at third, Sean Dunston at short. Two great arms on the left side of this Chicago Cub infield in Law and Dunston. Sandberg at second, Mark Grace at first, and Joe Girardi giving Damon Berryhill a rest behind the plate.
Leading off will be Brett Butler. He'll be followed by Robbie Thompson and then Will Clark. Foul ball outside of first. The first thing that Butler does is put a lot of pressure on the third baseman. He has 16 bunt singles this year. He had 20 last year. And immediately Vance Law is well in on the grass to defend against it, and Mark Grace has shortened up at first. No balls and 2 strikes. When you check Butler, you realize with his walks and base hits, he's been on base 140 times on his own merits. So he is one of the better leadoff men in the league. 1-2 the count.
He's kind of your perfect leadoff man, Benita. All the things that a leadoff hitter should do. Good knowledge of the strike zone, a good contact hitter. He uses the entire field. He sprays the ball all around. Hits the ball well to the opposite field. Bunts well. Runs well. Gets on in front of his 2, 3, and 4 hitters. He's kind of the perfect leadoff hitter.
Off speed and just missed. Ball 2. 2-2.
Sanderson's best pitch is his breaking ball. That one looks like it's going to be a strike, but it breaks around the top of the strike zone. Randy Marsh behind the plate today.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball hit on the ground to Ryan Sandberg, and that will be that for Brett Butler. 1 away. The Giants are playing very well. They are 4 games in front of Houston. The Giants have won 7 out of 9 since the All-Star break. They have the best record in the major leagues. Roger has his ball club 20 games above 500. They have the best home record, and what is most important, of their last 35 games, 22 of them will be at home. So they have a definite edge along with a 4-game lead. Here's Robbie Thompson. Ball 1. Robbie Thompson, the key to the inner defense, and brings a lot of sock with 10 home runs. He also leads the league in triples with 9. Little foul out of play. You know, in talking about triples, Leonard Coppett, a fine West Coast writer who for many years wrote for the New York Times in New York. And Leonard did a rather fascinating article about triples, but more than just the triple. You hear so much about doubles and home runs. The last time a major league team hit in triple digits in doubles, triples, and home runs, it's only been done twice. By the Yankees in 1927 and the Yankees in 1930. Line drive, foul down the line. The Giants, if they keep going the way they're going, will wind up with about 65 triples. Might have had more if they played on AstroTurf instead of grass. 1-2 the count to Robbie Thompson. The last time we did a Giant game was the 17th of June, and that's when this ball club really took off. You may remember Dennis Cook beat Cincinnati. Mitchell hit a home run in that game. And the next day, the Giants made the Steve Bedrosian deal. Little fly ball to shallow center. Coming up for it is Jerome Walton. Easy out. 2 down. To show you what's happened on that 17th of June, when they beat Cincinnati, Houston trailed by 1, the Reds 1.5, LA by 5.5, and San Diego by 7. So since the 17th of June, they picked up 3 games on Houston, 4.5 on San Diego, 10.5 on Cincinnati, 8.5 on Los Angeles. I mean, they've just broken the back of the division.
And Dennis Cook, who pitched that game, remember, almost like a showcasing, because the next day was traded in that Bedrosian, and he pitched beautifully on that game. Had a tough first inning. Remember, he was wild and nervous, and then settled down and pitched beautifully after that. Next day, or a couple days later, traded to Philadelphia.
Well, that was the day for the Giants to remember. They were all alone in first place the 17th of June, and it was a springboard date for them. Will Clark with 2 out and the bases empty. Off speed, in there nicely for a strike. He is 0 for 8 in the series. He had a 9-game hitting streak snapped Thursday night.
That's the breaking ball we're talking about. Sanderson's best pitch.
And he promptly bangs a 1-2 pitch into right field for a base hit. So you can shut down Clark just so much, and the Cub pitchers had done that. He was hitting only .225 against Chicago. So the 2-out single will bring up Kevin Mitchell. Certainly one of the biggest stories of the baseball year. He hurt his back, suffering an injury last Sunday. He slipped fielding a fly ball in the first inning. Off speed for a strike. You won't see very many fastballs. Sanderson does not get by on velocity. He gets by on guile and control.
Got to pitch hard inside, in off the plate. That'll make his breaking ball effective.
It's pretty hard to pitch hard inside when you can't pitch hard inside.
Well, your fastball, whatever it is, you still have to use it, and you have to use it on the inside part of the plate, off of the plate, inside off of the plate. It's the only way that you're going to be effective on the outside part of the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's the fastball, but it was down and away. 2-1 to count.
Talking to Dick Pohl, the pitching coach for the Chicago Cubs, he said it's very difficult to get young kids especially to pitch inside. The ones that have come out of college are so used to the aluminum bat that it's almost frightening for them to pitch inside.
There's a hopper up the middle for a base hit. Will Clark is on his way to third, and the Giants are in business. Runners at the corners with 2 out, and Ernest Riles will be coming up.
Kevin Mitchell has had a sore back, and talking to him this morning, he said he even got in the whirlpool at the hotel after the game yesterday. And that pitch, the off-speed pitch, he simply keeps his front side closed and tries not to do too much with it, and goes right up the middle. It is not the home run swing. That's simply trying to hit the ball hard right back up the middle, and fundamentally correct almost all the way through the swing.
So Mitchell gets a base hit to get to the 300 mark. Clark is over at third, and here's Ernest Riles. A strike.
This is the position in the lineup that is probably most important for Roger Craig. The number 5 spot behind Kevin Mitchell. Mitchell hitting behind Clark, protects Clark. Got to have some offense and some pop in that number 5 spot to protect Mitchell in the number 4 spot.
Interesting about the Giants scoring run. The Giants with Clark, Mitchell, Thompson, and Butler. They're trying to be the first foursome from the same team to rank in the top 5 in runs scored since Williams, DiMaggio, Stevens, and Heskey 40 years ago in the American League. And the last National League quartet to do it, the Cubs, Herman, Hack, Gallan, and Demery. There you can see Howard Johnson, but right behind him, it's a San Francisco lock. Will Clark, Bobby Thompson, Kevin Mitchell, and Brett Butler. By the way, when Herman, Hack, Gallan, and Demery did it, you have to go way back to 1937 in the National League, over 50 years ago. And that's hooked to right, but at Dawson. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. Sanderson walks off unscathed, and at the end of half an inning, Giants nothing, Cubs coming up.
Hot weather is pure misery on batteries. Saps the power right out of them. When a battery takes a lot of heat, sooner or later, that battery's going south. And when it does, don't settle for less than a maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Don't get stranded in the heat. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO.
Well, I'm a real estate appraiser. I do a lot of traveling in about a 7-parish area.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
I've got a Vortex V6 in my Chevy truck, and I wasn't afraid that I wouldn't have enough power because I'm always on the road, which could be blacktop, gravel, just plain dirt. I test drove Ford, and after it was all said and done, I chose the Chevrolet. I felt it was the better buy.
That's today's Chevy truck.
When I give you the signal, please open your blue books. Until then, please keep them on your desk with your pencils down. You'll have precisely 30 minutes for this examination. Remember that your grade in this course rests primarily upon this exam, so I hope you all studied this weekend. If you overdid it last night, I hope you're feeling well, as there will be no makeup exam. And under no circumstance should you get out of your seat.
Power equals work divided by time equals the Reebok cross-training system equals the physics behind the physiques equals Reebok.
Look at that cracking. Guess I used the wrong stain.
You didn't use Water Seal stain, the only stain with Thompson's Water Seal. It seals water out and protects against cracking.
With Water Seal stain, the next time won't be for a long time.
Thompson's Water Seal stain.
Bottom of the first inning, no score. Here's the way the Cubs stack up. Jerome Walden in center and Ryne Sandberg at second. Mark Grace, the first baseman, and Andre Dawson. Then you have McClendon, Law, and Dunston. Joe Girardi behind the plate. They give Damon Berryhill a day off, and Scott Sanderson the pitcher. And on the mound for San Francisco, left-hander Atlee Hammaker. Hammaker 6-4, no record against the Cubs this year, 5-5 lifetime. Fastball lifted to right field, and Candy Maldonado was right there, one away. So one pitch to Walden and one out, and Ryne Sandberg coming up. The Cubs have done well this year against starting left-handers. They're just about 3-1 to the good. They've won 22 and lost 8. So going in, they have to like their own chances. Ryne Sandberg has been struggling with the bat. He's had just 3 hits in his last 28 at-bats. The last time, or not the last time, but certainly the time that Atlee Hammaker will never forget pitching here in Chicago was at Comiskey Park. If you remember the 1983 All-Star game at Comiskey, Hammaker served up the first All-Star Grand Slam home run to Freddie Lynn. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-2.
If Sanderson's going to get healthy, he'll probably get healthy right here at Wrigley Field. He's a lifetime 300 hitter at Wrigley. When the Cubs go on the road, he hits about 260. Consistent player for so many years for the Cubs. Mr. Silent doesn't lead with his voice. He just leads with his actions and his hard play every day.
He hits a flare down the right field line, and Maldonado was there to pick it off. 2 down. For the Cubs, they're a very interesting ball club. Sandberg, one of their leaders, and hitting better on the road. The Cubs are a much better team on the road this year. Cubs are 6 games above 500 away from Wrigley, and they're only 1 game above 500 here at home. So they're trying to do it the hard way. Sandberg hitting only 235 here. Maybe that's one reason why.
Oh, it's kind of club, Vinny, you would not think of the Chicago Cubs being a running team as opposed to a home run hitting team. The Cubs 57 home runs, 87 stolen bases. A little bit more speed this club has. Now, you realize that there are 6 grass fields in the National League, 6 artificial surfaces. So they go on the road, they play on artificial surface more than not.
Ground ball to the right side. Robbie Thompson kicks it. It dies on the grass, and Grace will hold on. So Mark Grace, who came up to the plate with an 11-game hitting streak, hits one right at Robbie Thompson. And Thompson will commit his 5th error. Ball just got him on the wrists.
Roger Craig talking about the very solid defense that his club has, especially up the middle with Uribe and Thompson and Butler. You go out there, it's going to happen.
To the best
going to kick up. You have to be aggressive, not only at the plate and on the bases, but defensively you have to be aggressive as well.
And now Andre Dawson. Dawson with such a sore knee last Friday when the team was in San Diego. He made an un-Dawson-like comment because he doesn't really like to talk about it. But he was saying that his knee hurt as badly as it did before the operation. And they were really worried. Andre didn't play in San Diego, appeared as a pinch hitter in the Dodgers series. Came back here and they had him checked and they said he's okay. And is he ever okay? Gone. Dawson's 9th home run. He has 35 runs batted in. And for Adley Hammaker, the 4th home run he's allowed this year.
You get the fastball out over the plate to a big, strong hitter like Andre Dawson. May not hit it out every time, but he will hit it hard. This time, Andre hits the bottom half of the ball. Boy, he just crushed it. The wind blowing in from right field. Had no effect on that ball whatsoever.
Saves a lot of wear and tear on your knee.
You don't have to worry about sliding.
Just walk around the bases. And the batter now is Lloyd McClendon. Takes a strike. Now you have to understand that Adley Hammaker has been bothered by tendinitis. He has been very wobbly. He's been on the disabled list. In this last start, he allowed 4 runs in the first inning, including a 3-run home run by Tom Brunansky of the Cardinals. In fact, in his last 5 outings, including today, he has just allowed a bunch of runs. Though he is trying to come back, and it is a struggle. For Dawson, his last home run was July 6th. 0-2 the count to Lloyd McClendon. In the dirt.
One of the things a good pitcher has to do is you reflect back Mark Grace making the error, or excuse me, Thompson making the error on Mark Grace's ground ball, which would have been the 3rd out. So the runs become unearned. But one of the things a good pitcher has to do is pick up the defensive team, because there are many times that offense, when they go to the plate for you, are going to pick you up, and many times the defense behind you is going to pick you up. It's a two-way responsibility. And the pitcher has to share his load on that. There are times when your defense is going to let you down. That's when you really have to kick yourself in the rear end and say, listen, I'm going to pick my little second baseman up. I'm going to get this guy out. Yes, he's a cleanup hitter, but I'm going to charge this guy. I'm going to get him out no matter what to take my second baseman off the hook.
1-2 to Lloyd McClendon, and that's foul back. So Hammaker, after the 2-out error by Robbie Thompson, gives up the home run to Andre Dawson, and the Cubs lead 2-0. Andre Dawson, the Cubs are just not the same team without him. 1-2. And McClendon bangs it into left center, and over to get the ball is Butler. McClendon going for 1. He'll come back. He was thinking double all the way. So for Hammaker, another struggle, particularly in the first inning. And it all goes back to the disabled list in the middle of June with a strained tendon in the left bicep. So Roger Craig, a calculated gamble. And he's in the hole again with Hammaker. For the Giants, they go to the bullpen more than anybody. In fact, the Giant pitching staff has only 4 complete games. I mean, the bullpen has worked over 300 innings. The complete game, there's no one down there yet, and that could be part psychological, although it's a very short trip from the dugout to the pen here. And that's banged into left field. So after the error, a home run and back-to-back singles by McClendon and Law. And now Norm Sherry is going to go out to the mound and see if he can't find the solution to Hamaker's problem. Give you an idea about the bullpen and injuries. Rick Russell, the only Giant with even 9 wins. You know, when the Giants won in 1987, they didn't have anyone on the team win more than 13. There's Steve Wilson. Let's go down and think about 1965 and 68. Juan Marichal in 65 had 22 complete games. In 66, Marichal had 25 and Gaylord Perry 21. Mike McCormick had 22 in 67. Marichal had 26 complete games in 68. Tom Seaver's career high in complete games, do you know? Take a guess.
22?
21. 1971. The point being, the complete game is disappearing. And for the Giants, it's almost non-existent. Trevor Wilson throwing in the San Francisco bullpen. And Hamaker trying to get Sean Dunston and get out of the inning. Steve Wilson with the Cubs. 0-1.
Talking about complete games and the lack of complete games, Vinny, the game has really changed in the last 10 years or so in the sense of you used to have the closer, and then all of a sudden we began to develop the setter-upper for the closer, the guy that would come up and set up the inning, either the 6th or the 7th inning or whatever. Well, you began to have pitchers that they were very happy and contented to go 5 or 6.
Hot one to short, and they'll get the force play at second base from Uribe to Thompson. The inning is over, but Andre Dawson, as usual, lets everybody know that he's in the game, and it's 2-0 Chicago.
My favorite GM car I worked on. Kept it all these years, even after I retired. Every time my son looks at it, he smiles. Very popular at the time, I tell him. My boy's at GM now, building beauties like this one. One thing hasn't changed. We still build them to last.
GM cars have held their resale value better than any other U.S. make.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame-broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
I'm State Farm Agent Jack Frank. I'd like to tell you about one of my car insurance policyholders, Paul Messer. For 24 years, we helped Paul keep his coverages up to date. Then one day he had an accident. Then he really found out about the fast, fair claim service we promised him. Great claim service is one of the reasons Paul came to State Farm 24 years ago, and it's a big reason he's going to stay. Hi, Paul.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police. Makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Andre Dawson not only got a standing ovation from the folks in the bleachers, he also got an ovation from the folks on the rooftops back of right field. Andre, extremely popular, and well, he should be, has put the Cubs out in front 2-0. Now the Giants will have Candy Maldonado, Terry Kennedy, and Jose Uribe in that order. When Kevin Mitchell was out with the sore back, Maldonado picked a good time to swing a hot stick. When he filled in for Mitchell, Maldonado was 7 for 16, 3 doubles, a home run, and 4 RBIs. That was from Monday through Thursday. He was hitting cleanup. The first burst of brilliance with the bat that Maldonado has had this year. Beginning to get on track since the first week in July. And he hooks one down the left field line, foul and out of play. 1-2.
There's that fastball inside, talking about before, having to come inside, whether it was on the plate or not, and very close to the edge. If you look at Maldonado, has to be very quick to get to the ball just on the inside part of the plate. Now, if he leaves that ball out over the plate, Maldonado can keep it fair.
Breaking ball popped up on the right side in foul ground, and Mark Grace is there to take care of it. So Maldonado fouls out. 1 away. Interesting that the Giants, in their relationship with the Cubs this year, the Giants have won 3 out of 4 here at Wrigley Field. The Giants, with the best home record in the league, could manage to only split the 6 games at Candlestick against Chicago. Don Zimmer and Roger Craig, former teammates, now opposing managers. Terry Kennedy lifts one back of third, down the line, slicing, and over in the corner across the line is McClendon to backhand it just beyond the Cub bullpen, and he was running out of real estate when he did it.
When Kennedy first hit this ball, I didn't think it would stay in the ballpark in fair territory, or at least on the playing field. Very small areas of foul ground here at Wrigley Field, especially with the wind blowing in from right field. Of course, that ball wind blowing that ball toward the seats, but there was enough spin on it to bring it back to McClendon.
Nice play by McClendon. 2 down in the second. Cubs lead 2-0, and Jose Uribe at the plate. And he's first ball swinging. Of course, with Sanderson's control, we probably see a lot of that today, because Scott Sanderson is usually on the plate for good or otherwise. And at the end of an inning and a half, 2-0 Chicago.
It's not just a car, it's your freedom, an open ticket to ride. It's what this country's all about, a feeling deep inside that wherever you want you can go. There's a road that'll take you there, 'cause Mr. Goodrich knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Use Scope. Nothing powers away the film that causes morning breath quite like the power of Scope. Scope, the best thing, first thing in the morning.
If you think there's not a nickel's worth of difference between Chevy S10 and Ford Ranger, check Chevy's longer, wider box. Or Chevy's warranty, covering hundreds of non-powertrain parts. 2 years longer than Ford's. In fact, there's over 20,000 nickels difference, because this Chevy costs over $1,000 less. Plus, choose another 15,000 nickels cash back, and you can take that to the bank.
That's today's Chevy truck.
Smooth, mellow, Michelob.
Fancy perfumey aftershave. It's got to be a quarterback soccer.
Real guys who get mud on their uniforms use rugged, honest stuff. Ice Blue Aqua Velva.
There's something about today's Aqua Velva, man.
So you still think linemen are dumb?
Bottom of the second inning, 2-0 Chicago. Catcher Joe Girardi, followed by the pitcher Scott Sanderson, and then Jerome Walden. Girardi starting his 25th game. Damon Berryhill has been the workhorse. Ball 1. Here's Damon Berryhill getting a well-deserved rest He's been in 65 of the 95 games this year, and he's struggling a bit. He's had just 2 hits in his last 29 at bats, so they sit him down.
The more you hear about Berryhill around, though, he is one of the young upcoming stars in this league. Defensively, he's done a superb job for the Cubs.
Fouled away off to the right, out of play. Girardi has 1 home run. It is his first and only major league home run, and he hit it against San Francisco. He hit it against Jeff Brantley. Chopper up the middle, and Hamaker's in the soup again. So Girardi a base hit, and Scott Sanderson coming up. Sanderson is not a good hitting pitcher, and you would certainly expect that he will be bunting against Hamaker to stay out of the double play and to give the Cubs an opportunity. Sanderson has sacrificed 4 times this year, strikes out more than half his appearances at the plate, and he showed bunt on that throw to first.
You start an argument in the National League of why you should have the DH. People talk about Scott Sanderson. One of the reasons why. Forget about the other pitchers that can hit.
And he drops a nice bunt down. He can handle that. Well, let's see. Mike Bielecki is hitting a quarter. .025. So Sanderson
is not getting any breaks.
That's it.
All the line drives are catching.
Nice bunt.
One of the things lost by the inception of the designated hitter in the American League is seeing if pitchers can bunt. I always have enjoyed a complete athlete that can do things like that. Bob Gibson and Don Drysdale, a good hitter when he was with the Dodgers. It's one of the lost arts in the game, is being able to bunt the ball.
Well, here's Jerome Walden, and he has a strike. He flied to right field. 0 for 1. Leading candidate in the National League for Rookie of the Year, and right there with him is fellow teammate who sang the national anthem, Dwight Smith. 0-1. And he golfs it into left center field, and you get the feeling Atlee Hamaker is not long for this game. Walden has a stand-up double, and the Cubs lead 3-0. One thing, of course, with the Giants, they are such an explosive team that they can spot you a few and catch up.
You got to get more innings out of your starting pitching than a couple of innings. There's a look at the single by Walton, a very exaggerated open stance, but when he goes to the ball, his motion and his weight go right at the pitcher. Good young hitter hitting right around that 290 mark all year long. You may say, well, you can't hit that way, son. You open stance like that. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And he finishes right toward the pitcher, exactly from a fundamental standpoint, exactly how he should finish.
Here's Ryan Sandberg trying to pick him up, and he lifts one foul behind the plate. Terry Kennedy coming to the base of the screen, and it's on the other side of the screen, and the count 0-1. Trevor Wilson, the left-hander, is up for the second time in 2 innings in the Giant bullpen. You wonder how a team can win going to the bullpen as much as the Giants have and probably will have to do all year. And Norm Sherry, Roger Craig, and company have sure gone to the well. No balls, 1 strike. 1-1.
You're talking before about how many games the Giants have at home, Vinny. 32 home games left, only 22 on the road. They're on the first. This would be the 3rd game of a 14-game, 15-day road trip. And it's very important for them just to remain consistent. They could play just right at 500. I'm sure Roger Craig would be very happy on this road trip.
You know what they do is, on the road trip, they play Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, and Los Angeles. Then they go home and play Houston, Cincinnati, and Los Angeles. So for the next 3 weeks, it could be make or break not only for San Francisco, but for the National League West. And the schedule shows that the Giants still have 12 games to play with Houston and 12 games left with Los Angeles. But this is a most important beginning for them. They played 2 games so far on this trip, and they're 1-1.
Roger Craig out there either discussing with Hammaker the condition of his arm, if in fact he feels something in the bicep, or saying, listen, let's get more aggressive on this mound and go after these hitters.
1-1 the count to Ryne Sandberg. Walden at second base. 3-0 Cubs, second inning.
That was part of the discussion because the last pitch that Hammaker made to Sandberg, Thompson was moving towards second base. As he delivered the ball, as a pitcher, you've got to let your defense get back into position before going home with the ball.
Ground ball hard to third. Short hop by Riles down to Robbie Thompson. Walton is going to be left alone. He'll get back. Roger Craig sees his fine defense first leave the door open in the first inning on the error by Robbie Thompson and the home run by Dawson, and now they mess up a rundown.
It's a play where Thompson runs right by the runner. Uribe has to get back to second base. Clark is trying to cover for him. On that play, the pitcher goes to third, the shortstop goes back to second base.
So Mark Grace with 1 out. 4-1. So Uribe, well, watch what happens to Uribe. There's Riles and there's Robbie Thompson, but where is Uribe?
Uribe is headed toward third. He's out of the picture already. There's two other players, Hammaker and Uribe at third base. Clark trying to cover up for the Giant infield at second.
Shot to third, speared by Riles to Robbie Thompson, back to Clark, and they got away with it anyway. However, the Cubs still had a run on 2 hits, and at the end of 2, Cubs 3, Giants nothing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
How would you spend the summer night?
We're going to the prom.
Join the stars of The Cosby Show, Cheers, Growing Pains, and hit the floor for an all-star Dance Till Dawn Sunday.
The Nissan Sentra is the #1 selling import in its class.
What does #1 selling mean?
It means over 1 million have been sold.
Over 1 million, huh?
Yes.
I can see why.
Because we're #1, your Nissan dealer is offering great deals right now.
Can you believe some of the stunts you've seen in our competitors' commercials? Boy, I guess it goes to show you what years of frustration will do. Because for the last 12 years, Ford has built the best-selling truck in America, Ford F-150. Ford also builds the best-selling compact pickup, Ford Ranger. So if you want stunts, go see a movie. But if it's America's #1 trucks you want, do yourself a favor. See your local Ford dealer today.
Sports with Mark Lewis, weekends on Channel 12 News.
Looking over that second inning, you mess up a rundown play. You have one of the top hitters in the league, Mark Grace, and you get out of it on a double play. I guess that goes under the heading of when you're going good, things just go good for you.
I tell you what defense can do, cover up a lot of problems, can it? You make a mistake, but still a double play. It covers all the problems that the Giants did have defensively there.
Now as we go to the third inning with Robbie Thompson talking to Bobby Lillis about the infield play. The Giants trying to come back with Adley Hammaker. Here's that rundown. See Uribe going to third, and there's no one covering second now.
There's Hammaker going for third as well. That's right.
Adley Hammaker, Brett Butler, and then Robbie Thompson. You might have heard the crowd kind of roar, and it's certainly not Adley Hammaker's hitting prowess, although he certainly has some nice credentials. Hammaker batting .357, one of the few switch hitting pitchers. Only apparently he has given that up, batting right-handed against Scott Sanderson. 2-2. The crowd roared. There's an air show that started this morning and will go into the afternoon over Lake Michigan. And some of the jets go roaring by overhead, and the crowd reacted. Fouled away.
Now, is that the swing of a .357 hitter?
What about a swing of a .429 hitter?
Right-handed?
Right-handed.
Hitting .286 left-handed. Maybe there's certain pitchers that he finds extra tough, so we'll hit right-handed against against a guy that has a mediocre curveball that Sanderson has.
That's almost insulting, really, for Sanderson. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a ground ball to the right side. Ryan Sandberg is on it. 1 away here in the 3rd inning. As we look at the crowd here at Wrigley Field, Chicago, attendance is not only the part of today's story. They've drawn at least 30,000 in their last 14 straight home games and 25 of their last 26. But what really makes it important, it looks like tomorrow, somewhere in the course of the crowd entering the ballpark, the 75th million fans will come by, and the crowd is oohing and awing now as those jets go roaring by. 4 of them just as scary tight. One ball and no strikes. So 75 million fans will have come into Wrigley Field somewhere along the line tomorrow. Butler grounded to the right side. He's 0 for 1. Foul ball. I don't think the Braves have ever recovered from the deal when they got Lem Barker from Cleveland. And among those dealt away, Brooke Jacoby and Brett Butler. Butler is such a good all-around ball player. And how anybody in Atlanta and in Georgia could trade someone with the name of Brett Butler. I mean, right out of Gone with the Wind. And he's gone with the at-bat, 2 down.
Not only great offensively, he has just solidified the outfield for the Giants. A superb defensive center field, covered a tremendous amount of ground, great jump on the ball, adequate throwing arm, tough-nosed little guy too, comes to play, just everything you'd want in a ball player.
So with 2 down in the 3rd inning, Robbie Thompson coming up. Robbie flied to center in the 1st inning. Inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Show you how the Giants have been playing. Their longest losing streak, 3 straight, and the last time that happened was 2 months ago, and Robbie hit by the 5th. They lost 2 in Montreal, and then they lost 1 in Philadelphia, and that's their longest losing streak of the year.
It's a situation where Robbie Thompson sees the breaking ball coming. Doesn't know if it's going to get back to the strike zone or not. It's just not a fastball. There's not too much damage that the slow breaking ball is going to cause. That's what you call taking one for the club.
He has now been hit 5 times in his last 11 games, 9 times on the year. So he would take the lead in an unenviable department over Andres Galarraga of Montreal. Now you have Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell as the Giants try to get back in the game. 3-0 Chicago. A drive to left. McClendon going back, and this one is going to be into the ivy. That means Robbie Thompson will be waved in to score on a long double by Will Clark. His 72nd run batted in. as he stuck that one the base of the ivy in left field.
Boy, a guy with a beautiful swing. People talk about Stan Musial. Once he gets to the strike zone, he gets tremendous bat head speed, good power to the opposite field. The reason that Thompson's able to score, of course, 2 outs, and then the ball just kicks in that ivy in left field and stops dead in its tracks. Thompson, an easy trip back home.
The batter now is Kevin Mitchell. It is 3-1 Chicago here in the 3rd inning. Mitchell singled to center in the 1st inning. You know, the ivy is so important, a trademark here in Wrigley Field. Years ago, 40 some odd years ago, they had an outfielder here named Bill Nicholson, who was a great tobacco chewer. And when he hit a home run, why, they would deluge him with plugs of tobacco, and he would stuff them in the ivy, and at the end of the game, they would take the tobacco to him. And then later, Hank Sauer played here, and they did the same thing. But I always got a kick out of an outfielder who played here named Jose Cardinal. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Off speed for a strike. 1-1. Cardinal used to put baseballs in the ivy, so that if a ball got hit in the ivy, he could kind of reach in there and just have one at the ready.
If you remember where you placed them.
Well,
like
he had them all over. Yeah, it was like a library. He had them on the shelves, you know. He knew.
I tell you what, I have one in my drawer at home that I found out there, and I bet you it'd been there for 5 years, all mildewed and stuck way back in amongst the vines.
I'm sure it's an old trick, but a lot of them have done it. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Kevin Mitchell. Ball 2, 2-1. Well, here in Wrigley Field, of course, many years ago, they used to claim that there was somebody up on the scoreboard atop the bleachers in center field with field glasses looking out of one of those little holes and zeroing in on the catcher and flashing the signs. I don't say it ever happened, but it was one of the suspicions here.
Especially when Leo DeRocha was here. You heard it all the time that they were stealing signs.
Ball 3. It is without a doubt one of the most wonderful baseball parks in America. Wrigley Field, Chicago. And on a lazy Saturday or Sunday afternoon, you just can't beat it.
The unique things about the city of Chicago, 2 great old ballparks. The oldest major league park in existence, Sox Park on the south side of Chicago. And that's coming down. They're taking Sox Park's Comiskey Park or Sox Park down, and will build a brand new White Sox Park right across the street, 35th Street on the south side of Chicago. Should be ready by 1991, opening day. 2 beauties here in Chicago, Wrigley Field and Comiskey Park on the south side. One on the north, Cubs Park, and one on the south, White Sox Park.
3-1. On the corner. Strike 2 to Kevin Mitchell. White Sox, by the way, thanks to a dramatic home run by Carlton Fisk yesterday, have won 7 straight.
Be interesting with first base open whether Sanderson will come back with his breaking ball that Mitchell has been way out ahead of both times that he has faced Sanderson here today, or the fastball there that was on the outside corner. I'm guessing curveball with first base open.
3-1 Cubs in the 3rd. And he got him on the corner, and hard stuff. And so perhaps Mitchell was thinking right along with you, Tom, expecting a breaking ball away, and he got the fastball on the edge. Still 3-1 Cubs.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame-broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
Homebound Town traffic report is next after this.
Stop at Radio Shack and save over $600 on the easy-to-use Tandy 1000 TL computer. It's more advanced than other IBM PC compatibles. With DeskMate built in, it's ready to use instantly. Plus, you get a color monitor and a bonus package of 3 additional home and office software programs, even a mouse, all for just $12.99. You save over $600 on the greatest Tandy 1000 offer ever. Only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
Traffic's tied up on Main near Radio Shack.
Take a Carnival cruise.
Christina, you got everything?
Everything, Richard.
When you win the Coca-Cola Classic Fox Isle of Dreams treasure hunt.
This is the spot.
Cruise winners hunt for treasure.
Well, I'm going to search for a tan.
There are all kinds of prizes, like jet skis, cars, and the biggest prize of all, $1 million.
Wow!
With Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of summer.
This is the spot.
Richard.
Can't beat the feeling.
Car ready? Yeah. Had those Good Ranch guys at the GM dealer check it out. So any idea where... But I'll let you know when I get there.
Mr. Good Ranch knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom.
Interested in a better hand soap? Not me. I can go. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, then don't try to cope without it soap.
First base open, you judge for yourself. Kevin Mitchell, is this a ball or a strike? Why this happens? Positioned very well by Girardi, but there are times when umpires will look for certain pitches as well. First base open, 3-2 count to Mitchell. Randy Marsh, was he looking for a breaking ball as an umpire or not? That ball looked clearly outside to me.
I wonder what that will do to Andre Dawson's thinking and all of the other hitters now, if they're starting to think, uh-oh, Marsh's strike zone is as big as the ballpark. I'm sure they're influenced by calls on other hitters.
It's fine if it's as big as a ballpark and consistent all day long. Makes no difference. As long as an umpire's strike zone is consistent, hitters can deal with it.
High fly ball to center. Brett Butler is right there. Fighting the glare. Distress. He's got it anyway. And spotting it immediately was Maldonado, who tried to come over and bail him out, but he just couldn't get there. And Butler, with the shades, with the glove, was still fighting it all the way. That was a fine defensive play.
Another thing that was outstanding on that play is you look at Butler fighting the sun, Maldonado coming over. But a real lesson I read in the paper this morning about Kenny Griffey Jr. being reprimanded by his manager, Jim Lefevre, up in Seattle for not running the ball out. Do you know where Andre Dawson was when that ball came down? Past second base. Andre Dawson, a veteran of this ball club, a superstar. A routine fly ball to center field. Where was he? Past second base.
Good example for some of the kids. Lloyd McClendon, the hitter, single to center in the first inning, 1 for 1. 2 balls, no strikes. Cubs 3, Giants 1, bottom of the third inning. McClendon has been very busy since being called up the middle of May. He started at first, third, and left field. He has 3. He has pinch home run fouled away. Just to illustrate that point about Andre Dawson's hustle now. Here's Dawson. That's the high fly ball. Butler now is showing, hey, it's not so easy. And Dawson starts to open up a little just in case. Rounding second, heading for third. If Butler had lost that thing, Andre's 90 feet away. There's a line drive off the backhanded attempt of Uribe, and McClendon is aboard. So McClendon 2 for 2.
Uribe, who has made 13 errors at shortstop for the Giants, no chance on that one unless you just get lucky and time it with your glove. Smoked by McClendon to his Uribe's right, and they continue to hit Adley Hammaker very hard.
Lloyd McClendon is just tearing up the left-hand pitching in this league. McClendon, standing at first, is hitting .462 against left-hand pitchers. Held on by Will Clark and Vance Law, who singled to right field in the first inning at the plate. Law has been in a terrific slump all year. After all, he hit in the 290s last year. He's been unable to get started. He did have a 3-hit game the other night and looked more like himself. All 3 hits, a single, double, and a triple, were hit to right field. That was against right-hand pitching. McClendon, who was almost going the wrong way, has stolen 5 out of 7, and with 1 out, you have to be thinking a hit-and-run play with Law. Oh, here come the Jets again, and that immediately captures the attention of the folks here in the ballpark. They're expecting 2 million people on the shores of the lake to watch the air and water show. 3-1 Cubs, who are trying to put on a show of their own in the bottom of the 3rd.
Law has been struggling with the bat, as you said, Vinny. That partially open stance. I mean, most of the season unable to handle anything from the middle of the plate out. You can see with that open stance, he looks for the ball from the middle half in. He's going to be effective. You noted it. He didn't get in the base hits to right field. That's the way he has to go. Physically, he may not have to go, but the way you think mentally as a hitter, very important. If you have an open stance and think open and think pull, you're just going to pull off of everything. You can have an open stance and think right field, and mentally you'll stay closed. You have to keep that front side closed whether you're trying to pull the ball or not.
Vance Law, a definite hit-and-run candidate. McClendon at first, 1 out in the 3rd. Cubs 3, Giants 1. High fly ball to left field. Mitchell will have a play. McClendon's going to tag. Mitchell for the catch. McClendon goes almost halfway and then gets back. We can duck in a couple of scores. First of all, the Red Sox trying to snap that White Sox 7-game winning streak. Boston leading 6-4 in that game. Joe Morgan was ejected by umpire Ken Tashida in the 4th inning, arguing a ball call which had to involve John Dobson. It was John Dobson's 13th balk this year. Cincinnati and Montreal scoreless in the 3rd inning. And of course, that's a game extremely important as far as the Cubs are concerned. They are hoping that Montreal will stumble. Sean Dunston hit into a force play in the 1st inning. Dunston has walked 21 times this year. That might not mean much to too many people, but to those who follow Dunston, it does mean he's showing more discipline at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Off speed, ball 2. Hamaker trying to settle down after 2 very rocky innings. Of course, he might have been out of the 1st inning except for the 2-out error by Robbie Thompson. That wound up giving up 2 on Andre Dawson's home run. He gave up another in the 2nd. 2-0 to Sean Dunston. Fouled off to the right and out of play. It carries to the 2nd deck, and it's dropped down below. And the crowd gets all over the fan who had the chair.
Sean Dunston doesn't walk very much indeed, nor does this entire Chicago Cub team. 1988. Last year, they had the fewest base on balls of any major league team. And so far this year, in the National League, they have the fewest as well. They go up there swinging.
I would think playing here at Wrigley Field is one of the smaller ballparks in the major leagues. You can get into some bad habits. And one reason why perhaps a relatively young Cub team is doing better on the road. Yes, memories of Ernie Banks, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, in pursuit of the Gonfalon. And Ernie's number, along with Billy Williams, will forever be remembered. That's popped up in the breeze, and Uribe on the grass. So the Cubs get a base hit, and that's it. 3 innings in the books, with the Cubs 3 and the Giants 1.
20th Century Fox proudly presents 60 seconds from the most original adventure of the summer, The Abyss.
Hang on, gentlemen.
Here's a bottomless pit, baby. 2.5 miles straight down.
It was alive. It was like a dance of light. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't think they mean us any harm. I don't know how I know that.
When it comes to the safety of these people, there's me and then there's God, understand?
Talk to me, Bud, please. Do you hear me? I need to know if you're okay. You can't leave me here alone.
You never backed away from anything in your life. Now fight!
The Abyss, from James Cameron, the writer and director of The Terminator and Aliens. Rated PG-13. Opens Wednesday, August 9th at theaters everywhere.
Don't miss the Firestone Radio Spectacular. It's your chance to get top-quality Firestone radios in selected sizes to fit hundreds of cars, light trucks, and vans, domestics and imports, all at amazingly low prices. So hurry to the Radio Spectacular at your participating Firestone retailer now, before we're all tired out. Firestone, where the rubber meets the road.
They said this concrete would last for years. Now it has expensive water damage. Why?
Even concrete needs the protection of Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
This telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. 3-1 in favor of the Cubs. We go to the fourth inning with Riles, Maldonado, and Kennedy. A report: the Reds picked up 3 runs in the third inning, and they are leading Montreal 3-0 at the end of 2.5. Riles flied to right field with runners at first and third in the first inning. Fastball pulled wide of first to Grace, and he'll hang one to Sanderson coming over. 1 down.
How about the Reds losing Paul O'Neill? Broken left thumb.
With all of their problems, they have lost all of their regulars at one time or another this year to the disabled list, except first baseman Todd Benzinger. And for Benzinger, it's one of those drive carefully on the way home.
Yeah, and they're 13 games out. You know, a couple of the big guys they've lost, Sabo, Larkin. It's tough.
A reminder, we'll be presenting our State Farm Rules of the Game feature during our 7th inning stretch timeout. And here is the Candyman, Candy Maldonado. That wrinkled in nicely for a strike, and the count 0-1. Maldonado fouled out to Mark Grace in the second inning. Fastball whacked foul. Maldonado really turning on that fastball, but turning a little too much.
Maldonado pulled the ball very hard his first time up. Foul territory down in the seats. Sanderson, excuse me, if he goes inside, has to go way in off the plate.
On the knuckles. When you look at Maldonado's career batting average at home and on the road, he is a much better road hitter by over 50 points. That's the largest difference by any player in the major leagues in the last 10 years. After that slow curve, and he pulled it foul. Still 1-2. So Candy is certainly one fella who doesn't particularly like Candlestick Park. Last year he hit about 40 points higher on the road, and it's been that way throughout his career.
They play Candy to pull on the outfield, and Vance Law is really pulled over toward the line. He's going to have to hit a shot to get it by him. Candy's been playing pepper with that foul territory down that third base line.
1-2. Fouled away. You know that career difference between hitting at home and on the road? It's still holding up. You know what he's hitting at home? 222. You know what he's hitting on the road? 223. You see?
You find those facts, they just bear out, don't they?
Yeah.
He's much better on the road.
1-2 to Candy. With one out here in the fourth inning, 3-1 Cubs. 2-2.
Had a lot of rain in Chicago the last week. White Sox rained out. Rain here Thursday. All week long. Been overcast, cool. A lot of rain. The outfield nice and lush.
Off speed and popped up on the right side. Sandberg is calling. And puts it away. 2 down. For an update, let's go to Marv Albert.
And as you mentioned in Montreal, the Reds with a 3-run third. The key play, Eric Davis with the bouncer that handcuffed the rookie shortstop Jeff Hewson. 2 runs scored on the error. Reds lead the Expos 3-0. Now the fourth inning. Back to Vince.
Okay, Marv, and here's Terry Kennedy, who fouled out to left field to Lloyd McClendon. Rolls one to the left of shortstop Sean Dunston, and that's it. Quick inning for Scott Sanderson. I figured to see a lot of first ball swinging. At the end of 3.5, it's 3-1 Chicago.
In 1961, the fiberglass pole replaced the aluminum pole and broke the world record by 4 feet. In 68, the box construction's key resulted in a record number of gold medals. Since 84, the disc wheel has broken virtually every time trial record. Now Reebok has developed the energy return system of high-trail tubes that help propel the athlete forward. Who knows what records will fall next?
The new Pizza Hut Pepperoni Lovers Pizza asks,
why is everybody always picking on me?
just one bite and you'll know this new pizza is pepperoni paradise. 2 prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between 2 extra plentiful portions of cheese. Now get 1 for only $8.99. Or better yet, 2 for just $4 more. New Pepperoni Lovers Pizza.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
Making it great.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. This is the year of the eclipse. Introducing the Eclipse GS Turbo by Mitsubishi. Try not to stare.
It starts here. A cool breeze blowing down from Canada. It's blowing smoother, blowing crisper. Molson. It's a breeze going down. It's the imported beer with a taste closer to home. A special feeling all around. Molson. It's a breeze going down.
They'll all be there tomorrow in Canada's Queen City. Fittipaldi, Bobby Ray Hall, Al Unser Jr., Mario and Michael Andretti. That's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Joe Girardi will start things off. Girardi followed by Sanderson and then Walton. A chopper to Uribe. 1 down. What do big league players do when they're not in the starting lineup? Well, they're a little bored, so why not give a teammate a bad time? A little ice water down the back of the neck. Rick Sutcliffe. So now what do you do to foil someone pouring water down your neck? There you go.
Go ahead, big guy. Try to do it again.
Scott Sanderson sacrificed in the second inning. 4-1, 1-0. Do you remember any prank on the bench?
Never, never, ever.
Not maybe
ever,
that you were even
never,
involved in.
Ever.
No.
Would I ever?
No, not you, but I mean,
consider.
you remember seeing a prank.
Players do not do pranks.
No pranks. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Sanderson. Little nubber up along first foul, and the count 1-2. If you joined us a little late, a 2-out error by Robbie Thompson allowed Mark Grace to reach, and Andre Dawson hit one up the street back of left field. That made it 2-0 Cubs. Then Girardi singled, and Jerome Walton doubled him in. Make it 3-0. In the 3rd inning with 2 out, Robbie Thompson hit by a pitch for the 9th time this year, and Will Clark doubled him in, and that's it. 3-1 Chicago. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Breeze blowing from right to left. Roller the other way, foul. So Scotty will come back, try it again. 1-2. Interesting, as of Sunday, the Giants and the Expos leading their division, and the Giants were 17th in the major leagues in attendance, and the Expos 21st in attendance. The Tigers, with the worst record in the American League, and the Phillies, last in the National League, have both drawn more than the National League division leaders. Strange. 2-2.
A couple of similarities in the 2 ball clubs, the Cubs and the Giants today. Cubs have been without Dawson for, well, let's say they lost him May 11th to June 12th. Sanderson strikes out. Giants have been without Mitchell periodically. But it's an indication of what an entire team can do, what contributions from everybody have to do with the ball club. Cubs is 3.5 games behind Montreal. Of course, the Giants in first place. No, they're players that get the headlines and get the stories, but it is a team concept. There is so much that goes into the game.
That's popped in the air, foul off first base. Will Clark fighting the mist and the glare and can't handle it. Will Clark has made 7 errors, and that will be his 8th. So it gives Jerome Walton an extra hack. Boy, he was fighting it.
The glare very tough here at Wrigley Field, and it's out on a day that you talk to Roger Craig, and first things he brings up is the way his defense has played for him this year. Clark is a superb first baseman, and they've already had about 4 instances where their defense has left them down.
Wow, he ran up. That thing almost went under his helmet. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Jerome Walton, a man on the move, almost took one. You know, one of the problems with today, it's a misty day. If it's a bright, sunshiny day, you can put your glove and pretty much cover the sun. But the humidity in the air has diffused the light, so there's glare everywhere. Popped in the air. Robbie Thompson angling out. Maldonado coming. It will be Robbie Thompson. So there's that elusive last out in the 4th inning. And at the end of 4 it remains Cubs 3, Giants 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday, America's best go head-to-head in the individual events finals. The U.S. Gymnastics Championships, a special NBC Sports World.
Sometimes the roads are long. So it's good to know you've got some friends along the way. Pull into any Exxon retailer and you'll find gasolines unsurpassed at cleaning your engine and service unsurpassed at keeping you going. And that'll never change because quality products and services are why people have been coming into Exxon and why they keep coming back.
Thanks.
It's going to be a long, hot summer. But not if you go to an AM/PM mini market for the Super Quart Sports Bottle deal. Buy the sports bottle for just 99 cents and fill it up any time with Coke or any dispensed drink for just 49 cents. So keep filling up and take your cool wherever you go. But hurry, or you'll be left in the dust. The Super Quart Sports Bottle deal at AM/PM.
Sure, the Nissan hard-body trucks are some of the toughest. But the thing is, you gotta decide what you want out of a truck. Like you want a 4x2 that'll work its tail off for you. For a 4x4 that's no problem to afford. There's a 4x4 that looks like it'll eat up anything anywhere. And one that really does. Just decide what you want.
Because we're #1, your Nissan dealer is offering great deals right now.
USA Today Weekend, Saturday at 4:30 on Channel 12.
The Game of the Week is brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you the Eclipse Sports Coupe. See it at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer. By Molson, imported from Canada. It's a breeze going down. And by Pizza Hut, home of pan pizza that's winning the hearts of America.
Here's Marvin and Wilson Craig, the brothers of Roger Craig, the manager of the Giants. They traveled 14 days, drove 14 days from Alaska in a mobile home to get here for this series against the Cubs. Roger Craig has 5 brothers. There's 2 of them. He's mad at them because they all had a plan to retire at the same time and go on a motor coach trip around the country. And he said, these 2 guys, Marvin and Wilson, beat me to it.
Well, it probably increased our viewing audience in Durham, North Carolina. Roger, the dandy from Durham who went to school at North Carolina State.
He said they came to visit him in spring training. They haven't been home since.
3-1 Cubs in the 5th. And there's a drive in the gap in right center, and it is off Andre Dawson's glove. Finally picked up by Jerome Walden, and into second base is Jose Uribe, and everyone in Chicago now making sure that Dawson is able to get up. He's all right. So Uribe doubles to open up the 5th inning.
Well, you wonder, Vinny, if what you were talking about, the glare, which is very evident here at Wrigley Field today on a clear, crisp day, if Andre Dawson would not have made that play. One of the exceptional outfielders in the National League for many years. He got to it, and there are not many balls that you see Dawson get to that he does not catch.
The other thing that complicated matters, remember that wind is angling from right to left, and the harder he ran, it seemed like more and more the ball was not only moving away from him, but it was sinking.
He's a guy that's won 8 gold gloves. So.
Oh, hard ground ball to Grace, so they go to third, and they got him. That bunt was bunted much too hard, and Mark Grace hung him out to dry easily with a throw to Vance Law. And for pitcher Adley Hammaker, one upset man.
You can see Grace very aggressive at first base. That's a key to the play, and a good throw, perfect throw to Vance Law. Cuts down Uribe.
Got the hand too, because Uribe tried to make it tough by going in with just his left hand, and Law made him come to him. So a very important play, and it's a busted play for Hammaker. And now the batter is Brett Butler. Difference in the game, remember, Sanderson sacrificed Girardi with a perfect bunt, and then Walden's double scored him. Now Hammaker wasted Uribe's leadoff double, and for good measure he has to run the bases. We're in the 5th inning. Cubs 3, Giants 1.
We talked earlier about the similarities of the 2 ball clubs. They're really right together when they're talk about their hitting in the league. Here's another replay of the bunt. This Hammaker just hit it way too hard. Probably a set play that was put on defensively, because Vance Law was way back at third base. As a pitcher, when you're bunting, or a hitter, anybody, you see the third baseman playing way back. That's a situation you have to bunt that way and make him come off of third base to field the ball.
It is not the performance of a first place team today as far as Roger Craig is concerned. A bunt by Butler trying to get a base hit. Law's off balance throw got him. On the play, Hammaker goes to second. You have the Giants error by Robbie Thompson, and then the home run by Andre Dawson. You had Will Clark unable to catch the foul ball off first. You had the Giants mess up a rundown play. You have the Giants mess up the bunt. So this is not a team highlight game so far. 3-1 Cubs in the 5th inning.
And they're just down by 2, but they're a kind of club that can pop you at any time. You got Clark and you got Mitchell in the middle of that lineup. It's the great power of the 3-run home run. You know, it can cover up a lot of mistakes the same way as a double play that they made.
Here's Robbie Thompson, fly to center, hit by a pitch, 0 for 1. Ball 1 on deck, Will Clark. Giants wearing that gray. They will not be home at Candlestick until the 4th of August.
McClendon real deep in left field, pull all the way around close to the line. Hammaker at second base, scoring position. If the ball's hit, of course, he's on his way. McClendon very deep in left field.
2 balls and no strikes. Of course, with 2 out, this is a very important at bat for Robbie Thompson to try to extend the inning and let Will Clark get a shot at Scott Sanderson.
Probably what Girardi is talking to him about right now. But listen, you got a guy in the on-deck circle is hitting .330. He's 2 for 2 already today. So Clark with a single in the first and a double in the third. Let's go ahead and try and get the right-handed hitter out, Thompson.
2-0 to Robbie. That's another thing. If you throw him strikes, he is the type of hitter who strikes out twice as much as he walks. So to be too careful to him is really self-defeating. Hammaker can afford to take a big lead because neither Sandberg nor Dunston can bird dog him at all. Another one going right after him in the count 2-2.
Probably what the two of them talked about, Girardi and Sanderson, because he's gotten very aggressive and going right after with a fastball. Thompson, a good high fastball hitter, threw it right by him. Now you want to know if you can see the curveball. Remember, you got Will Clark on deck. You do not want to face him as a right-handed pitcher with 2 runners on.
Got him. Robbie Thompson strikes out. First baseman Mark Grace made the defensive play, and it's still 3-1 Chicago.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. This is the year of the eclipse. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi. Try not to stare.
Do you know what it's like to hear the cheers at the Rose Bowl as they rise up from 100,000 seats? Or what it's like to be the only guy on the parquet at Boston Garden? Or how it feels to walk out onto the fresh-cut grass at Yankee Stadium the morning before a game? Now you do. Adidas Aftershave and Cologne, the essence of sports.
It is from Kodak. It is for the advanced photographer. It delivers the highest resolution, microfine grain, superior image structure. It is called Ektar. Sounds like the most impressive color print film ever made? It is. New Ektar film by Kodak. The genius is in the details.
Interested in a better hand soap? Not me. I can go. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with hummus will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, the don't try to cope without it soap.
There's a cool breeze blowing down from Canada. It's blowing smoother, crisper. Molson, the imported beer with a taste closer to home. Molson, it's a breeze going down.
We go to the bottom of the 5th inning, 3-1 Chicago. Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, and then Andre Dawson. Dudley Hammaker, after first 2 very wobbly innings, has settled down for the last 2. So now he goes to work in the 5th. That in itself is a comfort for Roger Craig. Amaker with so many physical problems. Going back over his last 5 starts, he's had 1 game where he got into the 7th inning. 1-0. Popped in the air, foul off to the right of the plate. Terry Kennedy. Good play. We have an update, so quickly let's go to Marv Albert.
All right, Vin, at Fenway in Boston, Ivan Calderon connected for this 3-run home run, his 11th home run of the season, and it gives the White Sox a 7-6 lead over the Red Sox in the 7th. The White Sox on fire with 7 straight wins. Let's get back to Vin Scully.
Okay, Marv, it'll be Mark Grace trying to extend an 11-game hitting streak. He's 0 for 2 today. A funny kind of a half bunt, half chop, and he's gonna beat it out. And he could keep going, but he didn't find out about the overthrow until he was well down the line. That was not exactly your average drag bunt, and it certainly wasn't that graceful swing we've been accustomed to seeing. It was a mutt, an offspring of it, and it worked.
The key in this play is to get the ball by the pitcher. Actually perfectly placed by Grace, who runs very well. He's stolen 11 out of 16. That will give you an indication of his speed, but once you get it by the pitcher with good speed, it's almost impossible to get thrown out. Very aggressive play by Thompson at second. Not only getting the ball, but running it down after he threw it by Will Clark.
Here's Andre Dawson now, and for Mark Grace, that bunt single extends his hitting streak to 12. Look at this swing, or whatever it is. It's going to just be a bunt, but then he kind of guided the ball as well. Fly ball to right field and deep. Back goes Maldonado on the track, and the wind will cut it down. That ball might have gone, or certainly would be up on the ivy, except for that angling wind. So it is a fly ball to right field, 2 down. When the Giants come up in the 6th inning, they will have Will Clark followed by Kevin Mitchell. So the Pacific Stock Exchange will be alive in the 6th.
That ball definitely would have been out. Andre hit that ball right on the nose, but he also hit it right into the teeth of the wind all the way to the warning track. On a normal day, that ball is in the bleachers in right field. Just 368 in the power alleys here at Wrigley.
Remember, we were telling you about Lloyd McClendon and how he is wearing out left-hand pitching, hitting .462, and he is 2 for 2 today. Single to center and singled off Uribe's glove. Cubs 3, Giants 1, bottom of the 5th inning. And that's hit to straightaway center, and Butler now. Let's see if he has any trouble with the glare. Not this time. That dead all the way. No runs. A bunt single and a man left. At the end of 5, it's the Cubs 3, the Giants 1, and the Stock Exchange will be on the line in a moment.
Somewhere there's got to be a cure for athlete's foot.
Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Micatin. It cured my athlete's foot. It's got something the others don't. Miconazole. There's nothing more powerful.
Hey!
I'm giving away advice, not Micatin.
Say, what you got for my athlete's foot?
Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Micatin. It cures athlete's foot. There's even a deodorant Micatin.
Then I'll take the Micatin. To go.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Micatin. Look for new economy size powder.
A legend has been created. Not just another battery, but a better battery for the future. Better in reserve power, with up to 2 hours and 25 minutes in reserve for those critical times, like when you leave your lights on. Better in protection, with a warranty that lasts over 6 years into the future. Better in availability, since it's now at over 20,000 Napa outlets. Now with savings of $16, the legend from Napa, a better battery.
You know, when people are your business, you try to find ways to show them your appreciation. I'm State Farm Agent Mark Westmiller. I'd like to tell you about State Farm's Homeowners Discount. It's our way of saying thank you to the people who insure their homes with us for 3 years or more. If you're one of those people, look for the Homeowners Discount on your premium notice. You get the same good neighbor service, you just pay less for it.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
There's a cool breeze blowing down from Canada. It's blowing smoother, crisper. Molson, the imported beer with the taste closer to home. Molson, it's a breeze going down.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. Introducing the Eclipse GS Turbo by Mitsubishi.
You'll see 88 Olympians, Brandy Johnson, Shelley Stack, teen sensation Tim Ryan. That should be quite a show. America's finest gymnastics in the sports world tomorrow. The Cubs leading 3-1 as we go to the 6th. Now the Giants will furnish their biggest threat. Will Clark to lead off, followed by Kevin Mitchell. Each time Clark has come to the plate, there have been 2 outs, and he has singled and doubled. 1-0. One ball and 1 strike. Scott Sanderson trying to concentrate on Clark, knowing that Kevin Mitchell is on deck.
A two-run game, not that much, certainly, in Wrigley Field. Then, of course, the Giants won here yesterday. They had a 4-run 3rd inning. They lead the National League with 49 big innings.
Fly ball to right field, and Andre Dawson puts it away.
49 big innings. By that I mean they scored 3 runs or more. Certainly a product of the home runs that Clark and Mitchell have had.
Well, here comes Kevin. He singled to center in the 1st inning, struck out in the 3rd, called out on what would kindly be called a questionable pitch.
Well, there were a lot of us looking curveball at that moment. Maybe even one of the men in blue.
1 away. 4-1. Cubs scored 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. The Giants got their run in the 3rd. Kevin Mitchell doing all kinds of wondrous things this year, needless to say. He might be the first Giant to hit 40 home runs since Willie McCovey in 1969. And the question now is Kevin Mitchell on extra bases. Mitchell, as he stands at the plate, has 22 doubles, 4 triples, and 32 home runs.
Boy, did he let it go there. Wow. He just let it fly. Got the fastball inside, and that gives you a good indication of the bat speed that Kevin Mitchell has. He was complaining a little bit before about his back, but look at him let it go on the inside part of the plate there. When you look at Mitchell's 32 home runs, 12 have come when he's been ahead in the count, 17 when he's been even on the count. He's had only 3 home runs when he gets behind in the count. Certainly an advantage he has if the pitchers get behind him. A 1-2 here.
Time, no pitch. When you add up all his extra base hits, you have 58 extra base hits, and they did a study of major leaguers who had 100 extra base hits in 1 year, and all of them are in the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Chuck Klein, Hank Greenberg, Stan Musial, Rogers Hornsby, Lou Gehrig, and Double X Jimmy Fox. Got him again. Off-speed breaking ball down and away.
Well, one of the reasons that pitch is so effective is that Scotty Sanderson is doing exactly what his pitching coach has asked him to do, throw hard stuff inside. Remember the pitch before? A good fastball inside that Mitchell couldn't get to. You got to protect inside, and then you can get hitters out away. If you don't throw them inside, you'll never get that pitch to be effective on the outside part of the plate. Now that pitch out of the strike zone.
And that one is in the strike zone. 0-1 the count to Ernest Riles. So Kevin Mitchell a taste of mortality, striking out back-to-back at-bats. 0-1. In the dirt.
You know, Jim, amazing when you look at Mitchell's base hits. 97 hits, 58 of them this year for extra bases.
On his way.
Slugging percentage of what is it? 600 and something. 688. Thank you, Elliot.
A fearful thought for pitchers in the National League in talking about Kevin Mitchell. The fact that he had so many home runs before the All-Star break. Because in each of his last 3 years, he hit more home runs after the All-Star break. So if he hits more home runs after than before, he will dismantle the ballparks in the National League.
We'll have some new records, too.
1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the keys is going to be the number 5 spot for the Giants. Going to have to be productive, or Mitchell's just not going to get anything to hit. It's one of the things that Roger Craig has done. He talked about on our pregame show about shuffling and platooning and using 3 or 4 men in that spot. As long as he can get some production in the number 5 spot, and Mitchell will continue to get pitches to hit.
Scott Sanderson is doing something very, very important against the Giants. He is shutting down the leadoff man. High fly ball to center. That should be caught by Jerome Walton. Only the leadoff man in the 5th inning has gotten aboard for San Francisco. So Sanderson very much in control, leading 3-1.
It starts here. A cool breeze blowing down from Canada. Molson. It's a breeze going down. It's the imported beer with a taste closer to home. A special feeling all around. It's blowing smoother, blowing crisper. Molson. It's a breeze going down.
Ever feel like you're getting nickeled and dimed to death? Take my old gas station. If I use their credit card, $1 bought 96 cents worth of gas. For me, that 4 cents added up to about $50 a year. So now I come here, Phillips 66. I get high detergent, super clean, unleaded gasoline for the same low price. Cash or credit. I give them $1, they give me $1's worth of gas.
I've got a what? A brush. I really do. It's inconceivable. How could I possibly have a cavity? This is devastating.
If your little kid has a cavity, we've got news for you. Over the years, one toothpaste has helped prevent more cavities than all others combined.
Yay!
Not surprisingly, it's the toothpaste more dentists recommend. Crest.
This is a totally incredible visit. Yes! It's great!
Crest. It's hard on cavities and easy on you.
I'm out of here.
They said this concrete would last for years. Now it has expensive water damage. Why?
Even concrete needs the protection of Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi.
Carlos Martinez has just hit a home run in the 8th inning with the bases empty, and the White Sox trying to make it 8 straight, leading Boston 8-6. And Cincinnati and Ron Robinson shutting down Montreal thus far 3-0 as they go to the top of the 6th. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 3-1, and youngsters playing with little baseball players, which is a lot nicer thought than playing with soldiers, isn't it? A strike to Van's Law.
Amazing thing about that Boston Red Sox Chicago White Sox ball club. The White Sox now leading the American League in hitting. Do you believe that? Do you think Walt Rainiac has made a difference on that ball club? They can get a little bit of pitching. Granted, they're 17 games out and they have a very young pitching staff. They can get a little bit of pitching. As they develop this young staff, they're going to be heard from. So if they're pointing toward the day 1991 when they move into that new ballpark is when they really want to be competitive, so they can give his young pitching staff a couple years of experience.
Well, but Jeff Torborg, if they win today 8 in a row, that really wakes up everybody.
Oh, heighten your spirits, that's for sure.
1-2. And that's hit in the air to left field. Back goes Mitchell on the track at the ivy. Gone. Loy hitting his 4th home run of the year, and that gives the Cubs a 4-1 lead.
Vance Law looks for the ball from the middle end. You can see Hamaker just on the outside third of the plate, but about belt high. Law's 4th home run of the year. Has done a superb job defensively for this ball club, but struggled with the bat through most of this season.
And that's a base hit into right center. And on the bag is Dunston, and he will hold there. Randy McCammon begins to throw hurriedly in the Giant bullpen. Hamaker is not long for the game one way or another. He is due to bat 4th in the 7th inning. And it's a question if he can get there. So a home run and a single. And the batter will be Joe Girardi with nobody out. And the Cubs now have 9 hits to go with their 4 runs, including 2 home runs and a double. Girardi singled, grounded to short. He's 1 for 2. The second place Astros are at home hosting Philadelphia tonight. Dodgers in Pittsburgh, Atlanta in New York, St. Louis at San Diego. Dunston runs well and Girardi doesn't. So we'll see if they put a play on, but you have the pitcher Sanderson coming up next. There's a hopper to short, kicked by Uribe, feeds Thompson back to first, and they get the double play anyway. 6-4-3 double play. The Giants turn their second. And that will bring up Scott Sanderson.
Boy, their defense has been shaky today. But the ball bounces right back out in front of Uribe, and in time to get Girardi going down the line. A couple of double plays for the Giants have really taken them out of some hot spots here in the game today. That's the 78th double play that they have turned in the infield so far this year.
And Scott Sanderson coming up. Greg Litton down in the bullpen along with pitcher Randy McCammon. When the Giants hit in the 7th inning, they have Maldonado, Kennedy, and Uribe. Pop fly into shallow right. Robbie Thompson, but Maldonado's coming, and Robbie Thompson caught it. And the inning is over. 1 run, a home run by Vance Law. 2 hits, nobody left. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
A mother haunted by a dark secret.
I don't have any friends anymore.
Now, can she save her daughter?
I'm a good mother.
Raquel Welch, Scandal in a Small Town, Monday.
The Nissan Maxima is the most trouble-free car sold in the U.S. So now it's official. But the Maxima never has given me any trouble. No trouble performing like a sports car. No trouble fitting 5 adults. And the price? Never had any trouble with that.
Because we're #1, your Nissan dealer is offering great deals right now.
BF Goodrich TA tires perform like great athletic shoes. Grab. Dig. Because BF Goodrich TA tires are low and wide. BF Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes for your car.
Sometimes the roads are long. so it's good to know you've got some friends along the way. Pull into any Exxon retailer, and you'll find gasolines unsurpassed at cleaning your engine, and service unsurpassed at keeping you going. And that'll never change, because quality products and services are why people have been coming into Exxon and why they keep coming back.
Thanks.
Homer Form Beyond Buyer Beware, Sunday morning at 10 on Channel 12.
The Game of the Week is brought to you by the Upjohn Company. If you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor. By Tandy Computers, because there is no better value meeting America's diverse personal computing needs. And by Adidas Aftershave and Cologne, the essence of sports.
A reminder, next week on the Game of the Week, it will begin with Major League Baseball, an inside look. Most of you will see the New York Mets coming here to Wrigley Field, Chicago. Others will see the Red Sox versus the Indians. That's next Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And the second half of the doubleheader, you will see San Francisco against Houston. That will be 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Seventh inning, 4-1 Cubs. Maldonado, Kennedy, and Uribe. Off speed, ball one. Maldonado has fouled out and popped up. Sanderson throwing strikes, changing speeds. A fastball is drilled to left field, hooking in the corner and gone off the back screen. Maldonado hits his 7th home run of the year, and the Cub fans, as they always do, disdainful of the ball, throwing it back on the field. Throw the baggage out.
Get it back on the field. Throw it back. Throw it back. Throw it back.
I always thought it would be great to see the left fielder pick it up, throw it back in the bleachers, and time out as they start throwing it back and forth.
Those are the chants that you get, or at least the fans will get, to the balls that are hit up there in the stands. Throw it back. Throw it back. They'll get it from the bleachers in right field and left field.
Here's Terry Kennedy, fouled out and grounded out. It's Cubs 4, Giants 2. They've had 3 home runs in the game. Andre Dawson was the man aboard. Vance Law, Candy Maldonado with nobody on. That's hit in the air to left field, but McClendon is right there. One down for the Candy Maldonado Marching and Chowder Society. Another look at his 7th dinger of the year.
He has hit the ball hard throughout the course of the game, a lot of times foul just outside the third baseline, and that pitch up and out over the plate. Let those big hitters extend those arms. They'll hit it hard a long way. Kind of pitch that Dawson hit out of the ballpark.
Giants have been looking for Candy's home run swing. You know, in 1987 when they won, he hit 20 home runs. The year before that, 18. But then last year, he hit only 12. And coming into this game today, he had hit only 6. So that was number 7. Ken Oberkfell is going to come up and bat for Jose Uribe. And they might go to the bench again, and Pat Sheridan now comes out on bench. So there's Pat Sheridan, and here's Oberkfell. That's Les Lancaster, who not only beat the Giants the other night with his arm, but with his bat. He drove in the winning run. Little foul off to the left of the plate. Coming down for it is Law. So Oberkfell fouls out, and now Pat Sheridan will come up and hit for Adley Hammaker.
Sheridan, a great big hit yesterday for the Giants, a 2-run single off of Rick Sutcliffe. Giants lost the first game, really a heartbreaker of this series. Led the game Thursday night going into the 9th inning, and the Cubs came up with 3 in the bottom of the 9th. They went on to win it. The Giants came right back yesterday. 4-run 3rd inning, and the biggest hit, 2-run single by Sheridan.
Sheridan came to San Francisco in the deal that sent Tracy Jones to Detroit. pop fly up into the wind and coming in a hurry is Walton. That thing was coming back towards the infield. So Sanderson gives up the leadoff home run to Maldonado, and that's it. And as Candy gets ready to go to his position, it is 4-2 Chicago. Here's another edition of State Farm Rules of the Game.
Rules of the Game brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, folks. I'm Doug Harvey, National League Baseball umpire. I'm here to talk to you today about a ball player going over to the edge of the stands, reaching into the stands, battling the spectators for a ball. I'll be back in a moment. We're going to let you know whether that's a legal catch or not.
I'm State Farm Agent Jim Cornwell. When I first insured John and Susan Rager, I told them my job was just beginning. Now there's a new car in the family, a new home, and a new Rager, John Lawton. We just got together for a family insurance checkup. That's State Farm's way of helping you keep up with all your changing insurance needs. Because if you're anything like the Ragers, things can change pretty fast.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, just remember this, folks, what we were talking about. This the ball player going over to the edge of the stands, reaching in, fighting the fans for the ball. Now, this is a legal catch if he catches it over there, as long as it's not touched first, because when it's touched by a fan, it becomes a dead ball. But no matter how close a fan comes to it, if he does not touch it, it's a legal catch. Rules 2.00, 3.16, look it up.
That's today's edition of Rules of the Game, brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. This is the year of the eclipse. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi. Try not to stare.
Ernest Riles, who began the game at third base, moves over to shortstop. Ken Oberkfell, who batted for the shortstop Jose Uribe, stays in the game at third base. And on the mound, Jeff Brantley. Since the 29th of June, Brantley has 6 wins and no losses. Ground ball to short. And Riles, the long throw, takes care of Jerome Walden. 1 down. Brantley started his 6-0 streak with a victory against the Cubs on the 29th. Came back on the 2nd of July and beat them again. Since then, he's beaten the Pirates 3 times and the Cardinals twice. And he is 6-0. 1 down, and Ryan Sandberg 0 for 3. Little breaking ball strike, 0-1.
Underway, got recalled from the Phoenix Giants. About a 1.26 ERA. That'll get you back to the big leagues.
In a hurry. Slider in the count 0-2. Sandberg really struggling now. 0 for 3 today, 3 hits in his last 31 at-bats. Fouled away. One of the great stories slowly unfolding would be the comeback and rehab of Dave Dravecky. Dravecky, sidelined because of the cancer operation, is now in rehab, pitching out on the West Coast. What a great story that would be to get him back. Sandberg strikes out. 2 down in the 7th inning.
Now, uncharacteristic to see Sandberg strike out a couple of times yesterday. Today, he is really in a slump. The left side pulling off very badly. Talked about it before with Van Swall. When that left side opens up, it just everything is gone. There's nothing left to hit with. It's funny, you talk to hitters about it, say, I know I'm doing it, I just can't stop it yet. It's one of those things that you just have to wade yourself through. You can't get through it sitting on the bench. You got to do it on the field, especially with a guy like Sandberg.
1-0 1-1 the count to Mark Grace. Reached on the error so that he was aboard with 2 out when Dawson homered. Hit into a double play and then got the bunt single in the 5th inning. He just strokes the ball into left center. Boy, he has some sweet swing. In fact, to look at Will Clark and Mark Grace, you really have an idea how to hit the ball left-handed. Because he reached in the 1st inning, it gave the Cubs the extra at-bat. That at-bat furnished by Andre Dawson, and he hit one of those no doubt about it home runs up the street in the 1st inning. Recently this year, somebody on the Cubs hit a home run up the street, and a fan went up and got the ball and came back and threw it over the fence to somebody in the bleachers, who then threw it on the field. I mean, that's the best for throwing it back so far this year. That was great. It's 4-2 in favor of the Cubs. 4-1. The last 4 games between these two teams decided by 1 run. The last 2 games in this series, 4-3 Giants, 4-3 Cubs, and now the Cubs leading today 4-2.
Cubs have played 95 games, 55 of them decided by 2 runs or less, 2 or 1 run. They're 30-25. Different kind of ball club, this Chicago Cub team. They're not a power hitting club. They're more of a running club. A couple of home runs today, but 87 stolen bases so far this year, and they're on a pace that they'd steal about 70 more than they did last year.
Dawson following the home run, fly to center, fly to right. Grace doesn't figure to go anywhere with 2 out. They want Dawson to get his licks. Andre with 9 home runs, 35 RBIs. Grace, however, has stolen 11 out of 16, so he makes you think about it. Big hole on the right side of the infield. Robbie Thompson playing up the middle. A big chopper to third. Oberfeld cranks it up and throws him out. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. At the end of 7, 4-2 Chicago. Butler, Thompson, and Clark, followed by Mitchell.
You know, baseball cards are real popular these days. For one Ron Say, I can get a whole case of my favorite beer, Miller Lite. I don't want some watered-down minor league version of a regular beer. I want the less filling beer that tastes great.
Hey, Ace! Give me 2 cases, you can have this baby. Dream on. 1 case. Nope. A 6-pack. Half a can?
The big league light beer, Miller Lite, where less filling tastes great.
Okay, I'll give you 2 cases, and you don't have to take the card. But that's my final offer. Must have a couple of mine already.
Whoa.
Homebound traffic report is next after this.
Stop at Radio Shack and save over $600 on the easy-to-use Tandy 1000 TL computer. It's more advanced than other IBM PC compatibles. With DeskMate built in, it's ready to use instantly. Plus, you get a color monitor and a bonus package of 3 additional home and office software programs, even a mouse, all for just $12.99. You save over $600 on the greatest Tandy 1000 offer ever. Only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
Traffic's tied up on Main near Radio Shack.
Who could ask for anything more?
Ask him if it has a 5-speed transmission like Isuzu.
Does it have a 5-speed transmission?
Well, I'm gonna check on that.
Ask him if it has a bigger payload than Isuzu.
Ignore him?
Or better mileage.
Does it?
Not exactly.
No! Ask him why it costs hundreds more than Isuzu.
Now you can save up to $1,000 on the Isuzu pickup during Isuzu's 75th birthday blowout.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Earlier we mentioned about Ernie Banks and how he will never be forgotten here in Chicago. He and teammate Billy Williams, both members of the Hall of Fame, which brings up a rather important point as far as this weekend and baseball in general.
Very important day indeed for Cooperstown and baseball's Hall of Fame tomorrow. Active players going in. After 5 years of retirement, Johnny Bench and Carl Yastrzemski, two of the best of the best. Bench, of course, arguably the best catcher in baseball ever. He has a great left fielder for Boston Red Sox for so many years, so congratulations to those two.
And of course, here in Chicago, they're talking about Harry Carey going into the Ford Frick wing of the Hall of Fame. And our congratulations to all three, along with sports writer Bob Hunter. Big day in your life at Cooperstown, New York. Brett Butler trying to get something started here in the 8th inning. Butler has grounded out 3 times. He'll be followed by Robbie Thompson and then Will Clark. Fisted to the shortstop, and Dunston is right there. 1 away. Robbie Thompson will be coming up. He flied to center, hit by a pitch, and struck out. Robbie hit by the pitch in the 3rd inning, and then Will Clark doubled him in, but Mitchell was called out on strikes. Giants have been trying to play catch-up since Andre Dawson hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning. So Les Lancaster now trying to finish it off as Scott Sanderson. Lancaster on the mound. In his 11th game, he has 1 save, and as we mentioned, he had a base hit in the 11th inning to give the Cubs a victory over the Giants. Fly ball to shallow left center. Coming in a hurry is Jerome Walden. You know, you look at Walden and you realize he is a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, and it reminded me to look it up. The last Rookie of the Year, remember Ken Hubbs, the 1962 Cubs? And Jerome Walden, an outstanding candidate.
Dwight Smith, also a rookie here with the Chicago Cubs. He's hitting .337.
There's the base hit, and now this will be an interesting at-bat indeed as Will Clark comes up with his 3rd hit. And it means Kevin Mitchell represents the tying run as he comes to the plate.
Boy, does he have some swing, that Clark. That is a thing of beauty.
Watch Will Clark and Mark Grace in the same game.
Wow.
And then watch Don Mattingly, Wally Joyner, Wade Boggs. I mean, that's a complete study of how to swing the bat.
Just a picture of grace and beauty.
Well, here's Mitchell. Single to center. Called out on strikes in the 3rd. Struck out in the 6th. Breaking ball. Ball 1. Sanderson went 7 innings. Allowed 2 runs. 5 hits. As usual, he had excellent control. He did not walk a batter. Mitch Williams down in the bullpen watching and waiting. So Kevin Mitchell trying to take Lancaster downtown and get the Giants even. We're in the 8th. Foul away. Upstairs off to the right of the plate.
Certainly no place for Clark to go. Lancaster throwing to first. This before that. Clark's not going to go anywhere by a couple of runs. Don't take a chance when you got the big hammer at home plate.
For the 15th straight game, huge crowd here at Wrigley. Off speed, fouled away. 15 straight, 26 out of 27. They've drawn at least 30,000 a game, and today 35,530. 35,530. It's about 8,000 above average. And they'll have another whopper tomorrow. And Don Zimmer is going out to the mound to talk to Les Lancaster.
The discussion we're going to have here between Zimmer and the pitcher, that this is the most important out in the game so far. Make sure that the young Lancaster knows exactly what he wants to do. Joe Girardi behind the plate knows exactly what he wants his pitcher to do. And let's not make a mistake here. Go ahead and make up your mind. Whatever you think is right, then go ahead and do it. But let's not get beat on a mistake in this situation.
1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Just off the plate. Tough pitch to take with 2 strikes, especially when you've already struck out twice. 4-2 in favor of the Cubs. Top of the 8th inning, 2 out. Will Clark held on by Mark Grace. Got him for the 3rd time. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 7.5, Cubs 4, Giants 2.
Take a Carnival cruise.
Christina, you got everything?
Everything, Richard.
When you win the Coca-Cola Classic Fox Isle of Dreams treasure hunt.
This is the spot.
Cruise winners hunt for treasure.
Well, I'm going to search for a tan.
There are all kinds of prizes, like jet skis, cars, and the biggest prize of all, $1 million.
Wow!
With Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of summer.
This is the spot.
Richard.
Can't beat the feeling.
You know, everyone tells me what a beautiful car my Toyota Corolla is. True. But I tell them I got my '89 Corolla because I'm completely logical. I look for reliability and quality in a car. But between you and me, I fell in love with my Corolla the first time I laid eyes on it.
My Toyota, I love it. Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
Here are some of the veterans you'll see at the ballpark this season. And some of our rookies. Now playing at a ballpark near you. Get up and go.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cubs 4 and Giants 2. Lloyd McClendon, Vance Law, and Sean Dunston against right-handed Jeff Brantley. The pitches of record are Scott Sanderson and Atlee Hammaker. Ground ball wide to third, speared by Oberfeld to take care of him, 1 away.
For this Cub team, a first ball hitting ball club. Very indicative of a fastball hitting team. Don't like to get deep in the count, but you're going to have to look at breaking balls. But they go up there hacking.
Well, Vance Law has gone up there hacking. He singled to right, flied to left, and homered to left. Cincinnati still leading Montreal 3-0, bottom of the 7th, the last we heard. That's a very important game as the Cubs try to win today and pick up a game on Montreal. Montreal has won 2 straight. The Cubs began the day 3.5 behind the Expos. And of course the Mets are starting to make a move. They're at home with Atlanta. The Mets have won 4 in a row, and they began the day 3 back of the Expos. Here's the National League East going into today. So if Montreal loses and the Cubs win, they'll move up a notch, and then the Mets hosting Atlanta tonight.
And the White Rat, you can't forget about him. He is
St. Louis
going to be
just
there at
5
the
back.
end. Yeah, just 5 back. Good race in this National League East division. West, well, it's going to be tough. These Giants look awfully tough.
A drive to left field. Mitchell going back on the track. It is gone. It is the Cubs who are putting on the home run show. Andre Dawson, and now 2 by Vance Law. Vance Law had 3 home runs all year, and he hits 2 today. And if you look in the dugout, see how quiet the Cubs are? You're not going to see any real high fives. You're not going to see a lot of bashing. And it's all because of Don Zimmer. Here's Sean Dunston. I'm not going to embarrass the kid, but one of the young Cub players earlier this year hit a home run. And as Don said, it must have been planned because another kid was in the on-deck circle. So when the kid home run hitter touched home plate, they started in with wrists, forearms, elbows, shoulders. It lasted for 5 minutes, and Zimmer was furious. So when the kid came in the dugout, he shook his hand, and the kid started to walk away. He said, "Don't go away." And the kid stood there. He said, "Leave that act in Iowa." Now the kid walked away, and about half an inning later, the kid who was in the on-deck circle, who was part of that act, came over and said to Zimmer, "You ticked?" Zimmer said, "You bet I'm ticked, and if I were a pitcher, I'd have buried both of you." So you will notice the Cubs will not put on any real histrionic show in the dugout. They will congratulate the home run hitter, but that's all. Because the manager, among other things, has been beaned twice, and he knows all about angry pitchers. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sean Dunston. For Vance Law, he hit 2 home runs in a game last year against Philadelphia in July. It was the 29th last year, so it's not quite an anniversary, but almost.
You don't think he's very happy, do you? Struggling with that .230 average.
Drive to the left center. Butler with the shades down on the track to make the catch as Dunston almost hit it out. You come to Wrigley Field, and you expect to see the Giants put on the show. After all, the Giants had hit 84 home runs. But they have been outgunned today, 3 home runs to 1. And Butler took one look to see where he was, and he had it all away.
Boy, and another day, the wind blows a different direction in this ballpark. It's another home run for the Cubbies.
Cubs might have hit 5 today.
Dawson got robbed. That ball to right field definitely would have been a home run. Boy, Vance Law just totally different from when we saw him earlier in the year, pulling off of everything. Talking about his open stance, and was pulling everything, anything from the middle of the half out, he just could not handle. And now keeping that left shoulder closed, and he popped 2 of them today.
Girardi is 1 for 3. Single, grounded out, hit into a double play. Ground ball to short. Riles sidearms to Clark. So we're going to the 9th inning. Riles, Maldonado, and Kennedy coming up, but Vance Law is putting on a show, and the Cubs lead 5-2.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor or call this toll-free number.
I remember when I was 12 years old, I wanted to be in the big leagues. Sure, it was a big dream, but Dad said big dreams are what you need if you want to be the best. And Dad taught me about a lot more than just baseball. He taught me the meaning of trust and hard work and what it takes to be #1. Well, I never did pitch in a World Series, but I did make it to the big leagues. You've got to go with the best.
Century 21.
Sometimes after a big lunch, a day at the park is a little too much for Tommy Lasorda. So he reaches for relief. Rolaids, antacid. For millions, nothing, absolutely nothing, works better for heartburn and acid indigestion. And why should heartburn take the fun out of the game? Rolaids spells relief in regular or cherry.
This relief break brought to you by Rolaids, and here's a look at this week's American and National League leaders in the standings for the Rolaids Relief Man Awards. Russell, Jones, Plesac, Franco, and Davis. And we'll be tracking total points awarded on the basis of wins, losses, saves, and blown saves throughout the year. For the ninth inning. Ernest Riles, Candy Maldonado, and Terry Kennedy against right-hander Les Lancaster. And the Cubs leading now 5-2 on 3 home runs. Ernest Riles 0 for 3, 2 fly balls and a ground ball. 1-0 the count.
And Mitch Williams not up in the Chicago bullpen. Will give an indication of what Zim thinks about his young pitcher.
That's in there for a strike. 1-1. The Giants have 34 saves. The Cubs have 33 saves. So both Zimmer and Craig have had to go to the pen a lot. 2 balls, 1 strike to Ernest Riles. The other night, Thursday night, Zimmer and his team were down 3-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning to Steve Bedrosian, and wound up tying the game and winning it. What was interesting was they had played a night game Wednesday night in Los Angeles. The Giants had played a day game. Strike 3 called. 1 away. Friends, the executive producer of NBC Sports, Terry O'Neill, the coordinating producer for NBC Baseball, and the producer of today's game, John J. Filippelli. The telecast of today's game of the week, directed by Andy Rosenberg, pregame produced by Les Dennis, pregame directed by Doug Grabert, technical directors Marilyn Altman and Richard Sansevier. Maldonado fouled out, popped up, and homered. Final score in Boston, the White Sox have made it 8 straight. They beat Boston 10-6. That's a strike. So Lancaster working on Maldonado, who homered in the 7th inning. And 1 strike to Candy Maldonado. Breaking ball away, ball 2, 2-1. This is the 11th meeting of the year between the two teams. The Giants had won 6 of their previous 10, and tomorrow will be their last look at each other during the scheduled part of the season anyway. Tomorrow, Don Robinson is due to pitch for the Giants, and Greg Maddux will go for Zimmer's crew. We'll be back here next week when the Mets play the Cubs, and when we see Don Zimmer next week, I am looking to see a dramatic change because he goes on his diet on Thursday.
Thursday, he says he's going to go on that. Wife been on him about losing some weight, and he's going to start Thursday.
Fouled away. Why it's Thursday, I don't know. It's just taking him that long to get up enough nerve.
You think he's talking to Lasorda about his diet?
It's not the same diet. It's a different one, but it is certainly nationally known and recognized. A drive to right center. That's going to be trouble. There's nobody there. Over to cut it off is Dawson, and Maldonado's going for 2, and the throw way offline. It was a pretty good gamble because Dawson, in cutting it off, is going away from his play. He's right-handed. So he's going towards center field. That means he had to twist his upper torso and get a throw, and it's pretty hard to be that accurate on a dead run. So Maldonado a double, which stays and keeps the Giants away from a double play ball.
That's exactly the point, when it keeps him out of the double play range. 2 runs behind, you say, well, his run doesn't make any difference. Yes, it does, in the sense that get to scoring position and stay out of the double play, hustling all the way and thinking to right in between Walton and Dawson. Neither one of them can get it to it and make strong throw to second, and that will get your man up, Mr. Scully.
Mitch Williams heating up in the bullpen. Ground ball speared by Law. He looks Maldonado back. That thing almost found the hole as Kennedy tried to go the other way, but Vance Law, who has a single and 2 home runs today, takes a base hit away.
Boy, Terry Kennedy, first pitch hitting 3 out of 4 times today. 227, and he is just hacking at that first pitch every time he comes up to the plate. Good play by Law at third base. Maldonado wasn't going to go anywhere.
35,000 people on their feet now trying to root the Cubs home with 2 out in the 9th inning. A strike to Ken Oberkfell. So they are up 35,530. Nothing to report. It's still bottom of the 7th. Cincinnati 3, Montreal nothing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oberkfell, a couple of home runs on the year, and you wonder why Zim might not bring in the left-hander here. Certainly you don't want to let Roger Craig put a right-handed hitter up. And remember, the wind coming in from right field. So very tough for Oberkfell to hit it out to right field.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out. Maldonado at second. 5-2 Cubs. Lifted foul off third. That one will be back in amongst the customers. 1-2. So Les Lancaster trying to nail it down for Don Zimmer as the Cubs lead the Giants 5-2. Roger Craig blowing a 3-0 lead in the 9th inning in the first game, scrambling to come back and win yesterday and on the short end today. Oberkfell pinch hit for Uribe in the 7th inning and fouled out to Law. Almost hit him. On deck is Greg Litton. And that would have made Litton the tying run had that pitch gotten Oberkfell.
Boy, the one thing you don't want to do here is hit somebody. Wow. Woo.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out and time. Ball in his glove. He will reach in and get it, so you can't see any kind of a grip. Line foul into the crowd back of first base. So Ken Oberkfell trying to keep the door open, and Les Lancaster trying to slam it and lock it. It's 5-2 Cubs in the 9th inning. Deuces wild on Ken Oberkfell. Hit late and foul, and in a sense you get an idea of why Oberkfell has always been a good hitter, although he is not hitting a lick now, only 202. He has always been a very tough man to strike out because he waits so long on the pitch, and that one he hit almost out of Girardi's mitt. But he's not playing every day, so he's not the same hitter that we saw years ago as a regular with the Cardinals. Then he was really tough. Big chopper behind second base. Sandberg to Grace. So the Cubs have now taken 2 out of 3 from the Giants, and tomorrow the finale. 5 runs, 11 hits for Chicago, 2 runs and 7 hits for the Giants, who played a very shaky game both offensively and defensively. Scott Sanderson, who went 7 innings, picks up his 9th victory. He is 2-0 against the Giants and 8-7 lifetime. Hadley Hammaker, the loser, he is 6-5, 0-1 against the Cubs, 5-6 lifetime. And tomorrow, Don Robinson and Greg Maddux will be back from Wrigley Field, Chicago, right after this.
When it comes to protecting your investment, isn't it worth paying for the real thing? Because only Armorall works like Armorall.
My
palms used to sweat when I had to get on the highway. Now with my Camry V6, I just punch. Yeah! Punch it, Margaret!
My Toyota, I love it.
The 1989 Toyota Camry V6. 24 valves, 153 horsepower to please even the toughest customers.
We just fell in love with life in the fast lane. My Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
I'm tired of us sinners getting no recognition. I played 13 seasons in front of millions of fans, made All-Pro twice, and started in 3 Super Bowls. Yet no one knows who I am. Hey, even if I'm not well known, at least my beer is. Miller Lite. An All-Pro center doesn't want some watered-down version of a regular beer. I want the less filling beer that tastes great.
Excuse me.
Let me get that.
Hey, aren't you Randy Cross?
It's well known. When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute, it smells like a man.
Power equals work divided by time equals the Reebok cross-training system equals the physics behind the physiques equals Reebok.
Well, if you come to Wrigley Field, Chicago, and you are a pitcher, and the first thing you see is the wind blowing from right to left, and you're pitching against the San Francisco Giants, who have hit 84 home runs, you would have to be concerned.
Yeah, a little bit of concern is exactly right, Vinny. But what the Chicago Cubs did today was beat the Giants at their own ball game. Giants, of course, 84 home runs coming into the day, and they get out-homered. Vance Law, a great day, a couple of home runs, 3 base hits, and it's the kind of game where it's a 4-game series. Giants come in, end up losing the first. They win the second. They lose the third. And that's what Roger Craig has to be thinking about. Let's get out of town, get out of Chicago with a split 2-2. If he's 2-2, 500 on the road, he's going to be very happy. So a big game for him tomorrow.
Before we go off the air, perhaps we will have a score, a little later score. The last we heard, Cincinnati leading Montreal 3-0, and it was the bottom of the 7th inning. When we come back, we'll visit with Vance Law, who had 3 hits, including 2 home runs, right after this.
Introducing the totally redesigned 1990 4-wheel drive Toyota 4Runner. Now the additional performance from its available V6 is combined with additional comfort, additional necessities, and additional doors. Where you go in your new 4-door Toyota 4Runner is your concern. Getting you back is ours.
At BIC, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now BIC presents our solution, introducing the new BIC Metal Shaver. The patented BIC Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new BIC Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame-broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
I'm Cassandra Clayton. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, a U.S. diplomat is suspected of spying for the Soviet Union. Mikhail Gorbachev's own troubles grow in that country as strikes and violence continue. And a look at Soviet sailors on shore leave getting a taste of American life. Those stories and more tonight on NBC Nightly News.
I'm Marv Albert in New York with a rundown of the day in sports. First, the baseball at Fenway in Boston. The White Sox, with an early salary drive, made it 8 straight wins. They beat the Red Sox by the score of 10-6. Red Sox with a 3-run 4th to take the lead. RBI single here by Danny Heap to score Kevin Romine. Mike Greenwell slides in safely at 3rd. On to the 7th. Red Sox up 6-4. Ivan Calderon ripping one over the Green Monster. 3-run home run, his 11th home run of the season. Houston, and the White Sox add 3 more in the 8th. Carlos Martinez leading off the inning with a solo home run. 10-6 White Sox over the Red Sox. 8 straight wins, longest win streak for the White Sox since back in September of '83. In a matchup of division leaders in the second, Orioles won the A's 0. National League, 2 games this afternoon in Chicago. As many of you just saw, the Cubs beat the Giants 5-2. Vance Law with 2 home runs. Giants now 3.5 in front of Houston. Montreal in the 8th. The struggling Reds lead the Expos 3-1 with all 3 in the 3rd. The key play, Eric Davis with a bouncer that handcuffed the rookie shortstop Jeff Houston, allowing 2 runs to score on the error, and everything else will go tonight. Earlier today, the Yankees and the Padres completed a 3-player deal. Yankees, with 4 straight losses and in desperate need of pitching, acquired 31-year-old Walt Terrell in exchange from Mike Pagliarulo and minor league pitcher Don Schultze, who was up briefly. Terrell with a record of 5-13. Pagliarulo hitting only .197, disappointing the past 2 years following a 32-home-run season in 1987. That's the story here in New York. Now back to Vin Scully at Wrigley in Chicago.
Vance Law is our guest. He had a single and 2 home runs, and what in the world happened to you?
This is Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe came out here. He was already nearly undressed and gave a pie to Hawk, and Hawk came out and smashed me. That's what I get for having one good day in my whole career.
Hawk, of course, being Andre Dawson. And Andre sitting in the dugout, hysterical. Let's get to the ballgame if you can speak with half a face covered with shaving cream.
You bet.
The other night in Los Angeles, you had 3 hits, a single, a double, a triple. You went to right field. They were starting to look up the last Cub to hit for the cycle. Was that the first time you really shown some life with the bat this year?
Well, occasionally I had a good series against Cincinnati about a month and a half ago, and other than that, real hot series against Cincinnati, I've had a difficult time at the plate, and it's been very frustrating after the year that I had last year. I expected to repeat the things that I did last year, but yeah, I just haven't been able to get on track, and the last couple of days I felt really, really good at the plate, and hopefully things will turn around. I don't think it's too late to salvage a season.
Benny, I've seen you a couple of times, 3 or 4 times this year, and earlier in the year when I was watching you, I think it's easy to say that you were struggling all year, but it looked like you're really keeping your front side closed a lot better now.
Well, I think that was one of the problems, that you start becoming inside conscious, because that's really where people were trying to get me out, was throwing a pitch inside. And because of that, you start trying to open up a little quicker. And as a result, when they start throwing a pitch away, it's difficult to get to that. And as a result, you end up grounding out the shortstop instead of driving the ball the other way.
I'm sure you're probably tired of trying to answer the question. You hit in the 270s in 1987. You hit in the 290s last year. And for you to be hitting 220, that really had to be a burden.
It really was, and I felt like this is the time that I need to be able to contribute to this ball club, because we've got a good ball club, and you don't need a dragging 5th wheel. And I felt like this is my year to be able to help, and I'd like to contribute when we have a good year. It's not fun when it's still fun when your ball club's doing well, but unless you're helping and contributing, it's very difficult mentally to deal with it.
Well, the Expos, the team you're trying to catch, have beaten you 7 out of 9, so they will need your bat if they're going to catch them.
Well, they're a very good ball club. They've got about 5 outstanding hitters and a good, solid pitching staff, and because of that, they're going to be very difficult. If you can get through their 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters, you've done an outstanding job without getting too much damage.
Well, outstanding job is exactly what you did today. Vance, you look terrific, too.
Thanks a lot.
I bet you do. Our guest, Vance Law. A reminder, tomorrow, the NBC Sports Special, the Kart Toronto Indy. And, of course, at the Queen City, you'll see some of the great drivers. U.S. Gymnastics on Sports World. And next week, Tom and I will be right back here at Wrigley Field, Chicago, for the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs on the NBC Game of the Week. So, till then, from Wrigley Field with the Cubs 5-11 and the Giants 2-7, for Tom Seaver, this is Vin Scully saying so long from the Windy City.
On Saturday Night Live, a big, huge, wonderful star, Dolly Parton.
At least you got to give him credit for trying, Dolly.
You took the words right out of my mouth.